Baby girl, it's on.
Radio.
Baby girl, it's on. Baby girl, it's on.
Radio.
Need to lose that tricks. Girl, I got your wish list. I'ma make it count for
Baby.
sure. Baby girl,
They
it's
carry
on.
me in the sand like the one true God. Cash ain't gon' work, I'ma have to activate a new card. Shopping is nothing to phase in romance.
It's like, fuck the bullshit. These niggas don't want you to win, so why would you quit? Big pockets, no lint. Work major. You already. Triple beam dreams, head on the highway, champagne fame, everyday Friday. Motherfuckers wish that they could be like this. My mornings are fearless, I walk the night frightless. Never scared of nobody frontin'. Every given Sunday, my team straight stuntin'. And I won't change for nobody, nigga. They even doubted Jesus. Fuck y'all niggas, they dying to become part of a circle, but they stay squares. Fucking geeks, here's bullets for them bed sheets. Get your game breached, caught up in the nightlife. Warming up the bench, backdrops in my highlights. Fuck you supposed to do without a dollar in your pocket. And your baby mama hates you cause she can't make a profit and you can't get a job. You charged with fraud for paying your tuition with a stolen credit card just to ride, homie.
Because we do have quite a few different groups of people that are trying to make some headway in the community. You know, we got the Israelites, we got the Nation, we got the Moorish brothers, we got this group, we got that group. Problem is that we've been divided so long that we don't know how to stop the division. We've been divided for so long we don't know how to stop the division. So even our research, we're not even researching the right way, because we should be researching what we have in common versus what we have out of sync. So today what I want to talk about is the things that should unite us and bring us together as opposed to the things that separate us, and demonstrating why we need to come together around nothing more than our biology. Because see, I learned it from the fasting. People are like, oh, how we can't come together, we can't come together, we can't come together. When we did the fast, I realized the fast was a lot bigger than what we thought. Because not only was it the spiritual aspect, but it was finance. If you get enough people in one community to stop buying milk, stop buying bread, stop buying meat, chicken, pork, stop going to the pizza shop, stop going to McDonald's, that neighborhood gonna feel it like, God damn. Jesus got this? So when we did that, it was an impact everywhere, especially the places where we more concentrated. So then I realized we could do what we want to do, it's just the guys. See, if we try to unify under an organization or idea, then it becomes who's the leader. If you unify around your health, then it becomes who's going to die first. Right? Nobody wants to die. Right? Then vanity kicks in. The women want to have better butts. Right? They inject in car tire stuff, like they want bigger butts. Right? Men want better chests. We want better women. So, you know, we gotta keep that. So it's easy to deal with biology. All right. So this is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is biology. All right? Creation of life, creation of matter. Those are the two biggest, most unanswered scientific questions. All right? So we have the largest theory, which is the particle wave theory, and that is, as we're told, quantum mechanics, Albert Einstein, Max Planck, etc., etc. By the end of the lecture, I will show you that that's not only 100% African, but it's in your biology, and your biology is what separates you from everybody else, and that's why we have to eat the way we're supposed to eat, and that's why we're under such attack. That's why we're at war, because your potential means everything to the people in power on this planet, because your potential unchecked can't be matched. Can't be matched. Problem is we don't know how to tap into that potential. All right? So we're going to talk about that. All right. I keep saying this is the second time, but I'm going to go into Zeitgeist and do a whole entire Zeitgeist lecture. It's needed. All right. A lot of us saw this and we let Zeitgeist, which is a group of white folks, we always got to keep putting that in the front. A group of white folks tell us all kind of crazy stuff, right? They came out and told us, stay away from the, basically their message was stay away from the Bible, stay away from the Quran. I got a problem with that. Anytime white folks pop up, tell me to stay away from anything.
Go to it.
If not, at least go to it. At least I got to check, double check now. See, wait a minute, what you doing over there? Right? Because if you look, the white folks that spends the most time studying the Bible, right? Don't they own all the real estate? All the banks. So maybe it's something in the book that they're running you away from that you might need to double check. Because in the book it say, anybody follow all these rules, I'm going to just get you, you got everything. Okay, so now they done told us to stay away from that book. And what do? We stayed away from the book, and what we got? Nothing. People that stay in the book, they got all the banks, all the money, all the real estate, Hollywood, entertainment, everything. Damn.
Go ahead, brother. Oh yeah.
First thing we're supposed to do is, let me get one of them books.
That resonates with
Let me figure that whole thing out again. Let me read that from cover to cover, then I'll make an informed decision about whether I should stay away from that or not. So we gotta watch these folks here.
Yeah. Close.
And then we gotta follow money. I've been doing this for a long time. And before I was doing this, I was studying cats that was doing this for a long time. So I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Phil Valentine, Delbert Blair, Amos Wilson, I mean, you just run down the whole list. These guys dedicated 30, 40, 50 years. Dr. Henry Clark and how these Zeitgeist guys came out of nowhere and all of a sudden their movie was not only on every YouTube channel with 10 million views overnight, it even went into the theaters. I said, see, niggas ain't following the money. Who funded that? Who funded that? All we gotta do is ask that one question, instantly all the research out the window. Boop, I don't need to listen to nothing you're saying because I know who funded your project.
That's good season.
We be missing it. We be missing the whole boat. We jump on like, oh man, look at Jay-Z, he must be Illuminati. He making a lot of money on the radio. Then we listen to India Arie and somehow she's not Illuminati. Like, no. She's on the radio. She signed the same contract he signed to get on the radio with the same folks, because the same folks on the radio station.
Right.
So either Jay-Z's not Illuminati, and he just worked hard to get where he's at, or everybody's Illuminati. But we can't have it out, get cake and eat it too. And we get to that point where we stop thinking, and that kills us. So, Zeitgeist got it coming to them. I'm gonna get them. But this is important. Our ancestors, the OGDOAD, all right? In Egypt, in fact, the OGDOAD is the Greek interpretation of the Kemetic, which are the 4 sets of twins that originate all creation. Now this is very important right here, because this is our science, right? And we need to know, right here, written in glyphs is where it's at, because all of the cutting level science is coming from here, and this is what's so important to get. And the crazy thing is it's been staring at us so long, and we just haven't been utilizing it. And that's one of the things that frustrates me. Right? I don't consider myself an Egyptian scholar. I don't consider myself a Kemetian scholar. All right? So some things I may get wrong, some things I'm not a scholar. This is not my forte. My forte is the body. But my problem is this with our scholars. Why is it that Europeans go into Egypt, they go into the pyramids, they go into the hieroglyphs, and you know what they do? They come back out of there with the information they gleaned and make laptops and TVs. We go in there and we study the glyphs, and then all we could do is say, hey, the Bible's not original. Black folks wrote the original Bible. What? What is that? Who can do anything with that? That's useless information. That's wasting our time. That's killing the community. Because we're putting all of our money for our R&D, our research and development, into a dead basket. A basket with holes in the bottom. It's nothing. There's no end game to that. We wrote the Bible first. We wrote the Quran first. What's the end game? Black folks was everywhere. We wrote every goddamn thing first. What's the end game? Where's the money? Right? So we have to begin to understand how these things can be converted into something that's useful. How they can be converted into new businesses, new money. How this can extend your life. How this can be converted into health. How this can be converted into what we leave our children. All right? So what is this? This is how the Egyptians saw the Egyptians. Right? Because right now what we get is how the Arabs saw the Egyptians, and then they tell us, and then we tell ourselves, no. What we need to do is start asking the Egyptians, how do they see the Egyptians? How do the Egyptians see Europeans? Because maybe if we look back at 5,000 years ago and see that black folks 5,000 years ago said, don't trust these guys, we may not trust these guys. That's all right. I know some of y'all scared of white folks. I'm not. Right? I was though when I had to go to work in the morning. Like, damn, don't get me on video. Now it's like, it's all right. I got a lot of children, so I know they take me as I'm already here. I've already duplicated myself, so I'm ready. Right? But this is important to understand that we categorized ourselves based on biology, and that's very important to do. This had no malice included in this classification system. This was all based on genetics and keeping everybody healthy and at their best potential. This was about making black folks the best black folks they could be, white folks the best white folks they could be, yellow folks, etc., because we all have ethnic advantages based on our biology. We all have some advantages and we all have some disadvantages if we're put into habitats that are not natural for us. Like us right now, living outside of the equator, right? Anytime you go get a reptile, you have to buy a UVB light bulb with that reptile. Because they tell you, this is going to get tumors and cancers and die if you don't put a UVB bulb in there, because this animal comes from the equator. They didn't tell us that. We need that the same thing. We're from the equator. That's why we get tumors and cancers and die, because we're supposed to be getting a much heavier concentration of UVB, UVC. All right?
What is UVB?
UVB and UVC are ultraviolet rays. So those are the fastest, most intense aspect of the sunlight we get. So you get a full spectrum of light from the stars, but the UVB and the UVC, which is the fastest moving part, are the parts that we need to create vitamin D and testosterone and all of the other natural things. There's also the parts of the sun that creates cancer in other folks. So then you got to start asking yourself questions too. See, it's not a Minister Enqi thing. Ask the sun. Sun, why is it that you feeding black folks and killing white folks? Wait for the sun to answer. Accuse the sun of being racist. You racist bastard. It's not my argument, all right? But your biology, all right? Your skin is telling you what's going on beneath the skin, all right? And this is why there was such a intense classification system, because what's going on beneath his skin is not the same as what's going on beneath his skin. What's going on beneath his skin is not the same as what's going on beneath this guy's skin. See, we have that problem as black folks, right? We're so upset with white folks that we think we're the same as the red, the yellow. No. Everybody's different, all right? So just because you see in Japan, everybody's on soybeans and soybeans is healthy for Japanese people that lives in Japan doesn't mean it's good for you. A black man in Ohio, you're not that guy. We got to get that. All right? You got to get that. Fire away.
What about mixed people that have black people?
You want to eat for your strongest genes. You want to eat for the strongest genes. So you want to eat primarily plant-based to take you back to your strongest genes. You want to move to your strongest potential. And that's how all of our genes are activated or deactivated. All right, determined on the music we listen to, the people we talk to, the clothes we wear, the rooms we in, the food we eat, our environment completely controls what genes get turned on or off. So we all get a slew, thousands of possible outcomes. It's just determined. So like for instance, I don't know, I'll make up a disease called crayon disease. So I may have 4 boys and I might pass them a gene for crayon disease. But in order for that gene to turn on, maybe I need to be around tobacco. So I don't know that I have crayon disease. My children don't know because none of us had it. 2 of my boys wind up with crayon, the other 2 don't. Later on they get tested, find out, oh my God, you have a proclivity for crayon disease in the family. What's going on? Why did the 2 get it and not the other 2 get it? Because their environment turned those genes on where the other children wasn't in an environment where those genes would be switched on. So a lot of times that happens to us too, where we have a family member that we watch eat everything that's not tied down and we can't figure out why nothing happens to John, but such and such that barely eats whatever has type 2 diabetes, etc., etc. All right? We have to be able to control how genes are switched off and on. All right? So this is important to know that when our ancestors called themselves black, it wasn't a color they were referring to. It was the internal process. All right? And this is what makes us special. A lot of times people don't get that part. All right? We spend, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 years sometimes, 60 years in church sometimes, and we don't get it. The Bible is a book. The most important thing in the Bible, people think the most important thing in the Bible is Jesus. It's not. It's genetics. The most important thing in the Bible is genetics. Jesus is a part of those genetics. That's why that's the most emphasized thing in the Bible. Such and such begat, such and such begat, such and such begat, such and such begat, such and such begat. They're tracing the genetics. And the reason they're spending that much time tracing genetics is because that group of people possess something in their genetics that everybody else doesn't have. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to trace them. Everybody's the same. What difference does it make who's who? We're all the same. They're tracing those people genetically for a reason. All right? And that's what you have to understand. All right? So in scientific terms, this is just a part of the process. All right? When you see darkness, blackness, that is the blending of all of the different aspects of what makes life possible, the electromagnetic spectrum, into a harmonious blend. When you see white light, that is chaos. All right? This number here, the fine structure constant, this is the mathematical number, 1/137. And this was actually built into the architecture at Giza, like everything else. But this is why, all right? Because it talks about the underlying processes of what's going on. Okay, here we go. And this little guy, this is the actual device that they use to put that mathematics in place. Now, as I go, you'll get it, all right? So I want you to see this motif being played out. You remember, I just showed you the OGDOAD, the Egyptian OGDOAD, 4 sets of twins, right? They have one parent, all right? You're going to see that 8 and 1 laid all throughout your biology, and this is important to get, all right? Because everybody does not share your biology, all right? These are your eyes. For every one cone, you have 8 rods, all right? This is very important because this is the most electrically sensitive aspect of your body, all right? This is under the microscope, 8 rods for one cone. This is in your hand. This is why we have carpal tunnel syndrome, all right? You think that's one bone right there. It's not. It's 8, all right? Every year, 8 pounds of flesh we lose, right? Your cell doesn't turn into a zygote until after 8 weeks, right? When you fertilize a cell, man fertilizes sperm, fertilizer, egg cell, until 8 weeks. So you're going to see this 8 all throughout biology. It's very important for us to get this, right? Even our hair, right? 8 strands. One cuticle wraps up 8 cortexes, right? Even on the boat, right? We know about Noah's boat. How many animals was on there? How many?
All of them.
2, 10?
One of each.
One of each. It was 8 people on there. That's a good guess. You say, oh, 8's coming up. 8 been every slide. So see, y'all was awake. Y'all would have guessed 8 like she did. 8. Last 10 slides been 8, says 8 too. All right, it's important to get this though. All right, this is the pathways for melanin production and light production inside your cell. All right, and I'm gonna come back to that. I don't want y'all to think I'm glossing over that. It's very important. I'm gonna come back to that. All right, this right here is something very important, a very important icon throughout our ancient systems, and there's a reason. All right, our teachers didn't tell us the reason because they didn't know. All right, I'm just keeping it 100. And the reason I know they didn't know is because I know. So I know that they knew they were told us. All right. So we're going to get this. All right. We're going to get this from every angle. Right. Revelations 3:14, and it says, "And unto the angel of the church, the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God." So, I will leave that up to your own interpretation. The Amen. The Amen. All right? The Amen. Just in case there's anybody that is here that is not familiar with where Amen comes from, or Amun. Not only is Amun Egyptian, we know that, but Amun is one of the 8 or 4 sets of twins we're talking about, right? So even in the Bible, those 4 sets of twins are mentioned, right? Right here, the Amin, the Amen, right? And you ask some people about that, they're like, oh, no, there's nothing mentioned in Egypt in the Bible, blah, 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 blah. You ask them about that, that's pretty tough, because that's kind of like right there. You don't need to interpret it, flip it, bounce it. It just says the Amen right there. It's hard to get around. They say, oh, well, that means so be it. So be it. It means so be it. Like, hold on. So be it is a set of words. It can't say anything. So, like, that doesn't even make any sense. These things saith, so be it. These things saith the so be it. No. Anything that says something is a person. All right? So the Amen is referring to someone, an entity, a spirit, a person. All right? Psalms 84:11. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord God is a sun and shield. And it's spelled this way in the Bible. So there's no mistaking what they're talking about. Because there's plenty of instances where it's S-O-N. Okay? Psalms 84:11 is not. You can look it up. All right? The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he hold from them that walk uprightly. Now, a lot of us may not get that. All right? A lot of us may not get that. But biology, right? If I do not have the biology that I have, it is impossible for me to walk upright in the sun. In fact, if my body is vitamin D deficient, I'll be calcium deficient, and then I won't even be able to have a straight spine. I'll have osteoporosis, rickets. This is real science. This is not like, see, we got to get past the, no, this is real. Malachi 4:2, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. There's only one son with healing in his wings. And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stall. In some Bibles they give you, you shall wallow in the sun. Who else has the biology to do that? Because this is everybody can't do this. So it's being very specific. But see, we had certain parts of the Bible whooped out of our mind. Whooped out. I mean, whooped out. So even when we see it still now, that genetic memory of that, oh my God, is he looking at the open field? That nigga is crazy. He looking at the open field, master. He might run. So show people the open field, they start getting crazy. Like, oh my God, that is clearly Egyptian. It's clearly Amen. Right there in the Bible. Look it up. Sometimes when you read it in your own Bible at home, it has another magnitude to it. Because you might think I did something to it. You get home, it's just like magic. It's going to pop up right there. The sun. Clearly. Not sun, S-O-N. The sun. You will see. All right? And you will understand if you don't now. By the time you leave, hopefully, And we start to talk a little bit more about vitamin D and vitamin D deficiency, what this is about. Because see, this book right here, scientifically, is very powerful. Very powerful. I could prove it to you just one time real quick. First chapter, Genesis chapter 1, verse 29, it says, you're supposed to eat the fruit with the seeds in it. See, before we even get to the health part, we're just talking about whether this book is real or not. We're just talking about whether the book is credible or not. Just whether it's worth your time to listen to the things in it. Thousands of years ago, and here's my take on it, because I don't like to get into debatable stuff. Moses may not have wrote the book. Maybe they copied it from somewhere. Maybe like they say on, what is that, Discovery Channel, 3 people, J, F, and B, you know, they got all these theories on who wrote it. I don't care who wrote it. Does it work? Can I benefit from it? If not, then, you know, I'm moving forward. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 says the fruit with the seeds in it. So no matter who, going by any of those theories, no matter who wrote it, it was thousands of years ago. Thousands. So maybe 1,500 years ago, maybe 4,000 years ago, but it's thousands of years ago. There was never a time on this planet where the fruits did not have seeds in it until now. So whoever wrote the book knew then that a time would come where our fruit would not have seeds in it, and they would have to let us know that basic level of instruction. Don't eat that synthetic shit. Get the fruit with the seeds in it. Because now when you go to the supermarket, organic fruit also says seedless. People's confused. Minister, I'm getting the organic, but it's seedless. I'm like, okay, stop. Use your common sense. It can't be natural and seedless. Where did it come from? Where did the grapes come from? They don't have seeds.
Yeah, that's it.
Who? Right, exactly. Dr. Seuss thing. My grape machine. I press the button and then grapes pop out. Right? So we got to get this stuff. Right? Genesis, generation. All right? Why is this important? Right? Because Genesis, this is the biggest and most important part of the Bible. And a lot of us don't get it. This is all about genetics. That's why it's Genesis. It's all about genetics, the origin, the beginning. All right? The beginning of a bloodline. All right? So we got to get this. All right? This is the part we talked about earlier. 8 billion people on the planet. 8 million people speaking Hebrew, and out of that 8 million people that speak the Hebrew, that live the Hebrew, and walk the Hebrew and talk it, you also find the people that run pretty much everything else. The banking systems, entertainment, real estate, your boss. Right? So, let's get into some of the deeper aspects of this. All right? Because this is one of the big things that we waste our time on. Right? Evolution, right? Versus, or what is that? Intelligent design versus evolution. We're going to deal with that. All right? We're going to deal with that. This is all we need to know. Right? Because in our communities here, we've been having these arguments, and we shouldn't. Because the Bible agrees with the hieroglyphs. So I don't see why we're having these problems. This is why we need to end these problems. Neither of these supports evolution. Evolution is something Europeans made up. White folks made that up. White folks made that up to justify slavery, white supremacy, etc., etc. This is what the basic theory of evolution says. God created the first thing. And now, since God wasn't that sharp when he started, he's getting better every time. He's practicing. So every time he creates, he's getting better. And because Europeans, white folks, are the newest species of people on this planet, they're the best. Therefore, entitled to have the best on this planet. And you black folks, since you guys were first, you're the oldest, washed up one, God's phasing you out and phasing us in. That's the theory of evolution. And look, that's not in the Bible, nor is that in the hieroglyphs. So I don't even know why we have black folks running around with that. Because even when Adam and Eve got kicked out the garden, or Cain and Abel got kicked out the garden, there was other people in other cities. So we know. This is not theory of evolution over there. When you go to the hieroglyphs, it says that after the twins, they created, here we go. In time, Shu and Tefnut returned with the eye. When Atum saw them again, he was so delighted that he wept tears of joy. As these tears hit the earth, they became the first men. As the men populated the earth, they had to uphold the truth and balance of Ma'at. All the men was created at the same time there too. So there's no African stories where anybody was evolving. Because when we created our creation stories, there was nobody around but us anyway.
Right.
So who are we evolving to? Who are we evolving to in our story? So there's no issue to be divided on. This is what we have to do. See, when you in a wartime situation and you don't even know you're at war, the first thing you got to do is wake your people up. Like, oh, wait a minute, wake up. We in a fight. Oh, no. Not only are we in a fight, we're on the same team. It's two things you might want to know. A, we're in a fight. B, we're on the same team. All right, we need to know that. All right, because not only are we still arguing old arguments, but the Europeans that have set those arguments in motion are no longer arguing those arguments. They are scientifically moving away from evolution and everything else. All right, because science no longer supports it. So I have to also give people that as well. And I give people the Bible source, hieroglyphs source, then I got to also give you European source. Right? We need that. Right? So let's go a little bit more specific into intelligent design. Let's look at it. All right? I want to show some intelligent design. I want to show some. All right? Now this again, this talks about the twins being created, and we know that after Atum, he cried, da 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 da. This is where we have to, this is where intelligent design, this is where we can close the lid on this thing. This is why we have to deal with science. We have to get back to the point where our people were scientists. That removes all debate, right? This right here is the anatomy of your nose from the side view. And this is important for us to know. This nose thing right here alone can end the argument on whether we were created by intelligent design. It's very important. All right? So you look at oxygen, right? Oxygen. That's what we need to breathe. The most vital element for you to live. No? Okay, niggas not sure you need oxygen here? We got to go back to super basics. Like, day number one. We breathe air. Okay? Not nicotine. Air. Some black folks confused. Like, not nicotine? No, not nicotine. All right. So oxygen, our most vital element. O2 is the chemical solution. So we look at this, we're like O2, okay, that's two O's, beautiful. Okay, we're gonna line them two O's up. Boop, boop. Oh, wow. Two O's line up into a nice number 8 already by itself. And oxygen is the number 8th element. See, right there, intelligent design is done already. There's already intelligent design right here. Let's go further. Because I'm going to lay them two O's down, right? Boop. And now I got infinity symbol. Very simple. Right? I'm going to drop two more O's in them first two O's, and now I got breasts. This is very simple. As soon as the infant comes out, that's where he's going to, his breast. You got to see how basic this is. Your eyes, next. Right? Your eyes. Because we still got this laid down. Right? These are also your eyes. We're going to put this thing back up. Right? We're going to look deeper at the oxygen. The reason why it's the number 8th element is because it has 8 electrons, 8 protons, 8 neutrons. Okay. 8, 8, 8. Right? All right. A little science in this get that. When you're born, you have 8 holes in your head. See? This is intelligent design. This can't be coincidence. You can't evolve to that. Like, it can't just so happen 2 cells just kept bumping into each other till you made people, as opposed to giraffes, as opposed to hippopotamus. Like, you know what the odds is on that? 8 holes in your head at birth, right? Because we forget about this one. Right? But in order to inhale the 8th element, which is the most vital, we got to inhale that number 8th element in through a number 8. Your nose is the number 8. So there is no accidental way to arrive at this conclusion where oxygen, the 8th element, goes into a number 8, and that's the most vital of all of the elements that you require. Right? We have to know this. Because if we see this science, it's very basic. This is our health situation. Right? This is our health. Right? Same thing with water. Right? Hydrogen plus hydrogen. 2 hydrogens. This is fusion, the source of all life in water. Very simple. Right? Very simple. But this is still that number 8. I want y'all to see this in case y'all missed it. Look. This is one atom plus another atom. This is how you make water. This is fusion. This is still intelligent design. Right? This is fusion now. Now that we got air, we got water. The same 8 principle. The same 8. One cell in another cell. Those 2 cells is a number 8. Right? The fez, for our Moorish brothers. What does the fez symbolize? The fez symbolizes a 9-month span that you spend in a woman's womb. Right? Why is that important? Because this is the science our ancestors was trying to communicate to us. So there's no reason for Christians to be debating with Moors, to be debating with Kemetian brothers. Why? Because they're all following the flower of life. Right? Okay. We don't get it yet, minister. That's fine, you will. We got time. The human body demonstrates that anywhere you see the 8, what's happening is it's combining waves. All right? So some of us, we into the science a little bit. We might have heard about that. Duality. Wave sometime, particle. Okay, we got to get there. We got to get there. We have to be abreast of what the current technology has in store for us. If not, if we're not actively taking care of our body, somebody else is. Right? Either you're a slave or a master. Period. You don't know what's going on in your body, that means you're somebody's slave. Period. Because I'm putting the program in your body, you don't know what the program is. Everything you eat makes you do something. So if you don't know what it is you're eating, you don't know why you do what you do. That's why relationships be crazy, business be crazy, can't come together. You don't know yourself. And then you think you know somebody till they get hungry and cranky. Don't feed the nigga and see what happens. Right? So even the carbon, even the diamond, it's the same structure. It's the same 8. It's the same 8. All right? We have to see this plays out all over creation. Right? In Al-Fatiha. In Al-Fatiha. And that goes, that precedes all Muslim prayer. They talk about the 8 divine powers right here. And Amta. Right? So we can go right there. The 8 divine powers in Al-Fatiha. Right? So there's no reason for Muslim brothers to be debating with Kemetian brothers about what it is that they're doing and not doing. Because guess what? It's the same underlying science. So you're arguing about nothing, because while we're arguing, white folks getting richer. Indians getting richer. Chinese folks getting richer. White folks are not even really the stars of the show anymore. We done fell asleep so long at the wheel, we done let Indian folks from India creep up. Chinese folks. Mexicans. We should really be ashamed of that. Mexicans. You had to double back like, y'all niggas bastards too. So we gotta wake up. Right? Even Scientology. Dealing with these same 8 dynamics, the same 8 principle, the same 8. It's everywhere. All they're teaching is you. We got to know this, right? Jesus, in the New Testament, right? Because a lot of us, we deal with Old Testament, we don't want to deal with New Testament. Jesus, both of his most famous sermons, the Sermon on the Mount and the Sermon on the Plain, both 8 verses. You got the 8 beatitudes, and then you got the 4 twin beatitudes. It's still 8. There's a reason. See? Even when we talk circumcision, Circumcision is done when? On the 8th day. The reason being is because the vitamin K and the prothrombin, which are the things that clot the blood after the circumcision, are the highest on the 8th day. So this is not just traditional. This is not just a happenstance or somebody feeling good saying we're going to do this all on the 8th day and we're going to make it a canon and everybody's going to do it. No, it's science that backs up these things. And again, this right here is enough science to make the Bible credible to you, period. Because this 8th day circumcision was encoded or written down in the Bible long before we even had the medical equipment to prove or even isolate vitamin K, to know that vitamin K was the highest in an infant or male boy on the 8th day, etc., etc., etc. Just this high level of science right here in the Bible lets you know that there's science in there, and you have to be able to go through there and see what's fluff and what's fact. But if you don't go through the book yourself, you ain't gonna know what's in there. A lot of us are looking at shortcuts of shortcuts. We're reading commentary on commentary. So everybody now has studied every religion. Oh yeah, I studied all the religions. No, you didn't. You studied somebody that said they studied all the religions. You ain't studied a damn thing. Period. You might have studied church when your grandma, your grandpa forced you to go on Sunday morning, but you didn't do no real work. Can't study. It takes 7 years to master any one subject. So if you really study the 3 major religions, then you should be at least pushing 40, because it took you 21 years to go through all 3 religions thoroughly. Right? So even Abraham had 8 covenant conversations with God. 8. That's important, because what was the sign of the covenant? Circumcision. So circumcision is supposed to happen on the 8th day, and just so happens that Abraham has 8 conversations. 8. And you can check. That's why I put them there. 8 conversations about this covenant. 8. Inside your body. 8 cervical nerves on each side of your neck. Right? We talk about melanin. They tell you melanin is carbon. Right? There's only 8 allotropes of carbon. Right? We have to see that this 8 constantly plays out. Right? And the number 64. 8 squared. 8 times 8. Alright? 8 times 8. We have to understand this. The Kemenu. Who is the Kemenu? Let's see who's awake. The OGDOAD. The Egyptian deities. Come on, black folks. Y'all can fake it for now, but then by the time y'all leave, y'all will be officially qualified as black folks. Because if you don't know the OGDOAD, the 8 Egyptian deities, then that's you're losing black points. Especially if you know Drake. If you know Drake and Nicki Minaj and you don't know these guys, there's an issue right there. Okay, especially if you're over 15. Under 15, you get a pass. Alright? So this is important though. This number 64. Alright? In terms of light, perception, attention, focus, all of these things, this number 64 is the magic number for it. Alright? Now, one of the things that our scholars have not touched on in terms of the OGDOAD or the Kemenu is that it's telling us something about our ancestors. See, everything meant something. So when they codified the 8 foundational forces that create all life in the universe into these 8 deities, and out of 7 letters of their name, 4 of them spells out black. They're letting you know that those forces are also black. They're letting you know that those forces are black. Alright? That's very important for us to get. They're letting you know that those forces are black. Alright? So I go through for some of the people that need it. So I won't go through it for you. But it's here for people that need it. It's in the presentation. All of the translations so we get it. Right? We need to see that. Right? So it's not just Minister Enqi. Minister Enqi comes with the word, the hieroglyph, the definition. I'll give you the thorough. You're going to get the whole thing. Right? You get the whole thing. And you'll get where to go look it up for yourself. Right? You get the whole thing. All right? You even get a grammar. You even get an Egyptian grammar lesson. All right, in Egyptian, the adjective precedes the noun. When the noun represents anything sacred or holy, otherwise the adjective follows the noun. All right, important to know. All right, so back to the important stuff. The and the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Heru, right? Those are the two keys to understanding our genetics. All right, who has heard of the Eye of Heru before? The Eye of Horus. Oh my goodness.
Hello, non-believers out there. This is Sunday school. I am the minister. FBP.
We come around once in a blue moon, just to show you that we love
Nobody?
you.
Eye of Horus? Okay. This is very important. That's good. Because it was good that I have this here then. The Eye of Horus is very important in terms of science because what our ancestors, well, let me start with this. A mnemonic device is something that people use to make remembering a lot of complicated information real simple. So our ancestors used stories and pictures to do that. So that's why we use the hieroglyphs, because the glyphs communicated a lot more info than you can with words. This picture, this glyph, not only communicated higher physical sciences, but even the mundane stuff such as how much, for instance, for Egyptian doctors, they used this to break down how they would give out prescriptions. They used this to have a working understanding of how, I can't go back. But the reason why I was showing light and perception is because this is what these percentages are. These fractions are how much light and perception, how much energy our body actually gives to these various areas in the body. All right, to various areas in the body. So this was a multifaceted mnemonic device, very important in terms of what we're going to get to here. All right. This was also an ancient divining tool. Now, what is a divining tool, ladies? Shannon. Okay, divining tool is something people use to see the future. So like astrology, right? Horoscopes, that's why I said ladies. Because ladies are more anal about that than men. All right? They be on that newspaper like, whoop. And now it's new school, so they waiting on that text. I know people that will not send out a text message, but check their daily horoscope daily. Daily. Can't live without it. Okay? And to me, it's a hustle, right? It's 12 signs. It's 8 billion people. You telling me that everybody that's a Cancer get ready to lose their job today? Like, don't go into work today. It's going to be complicated. So everybody that's a Cancer is going to be complicated at work today. No. It's a lot more complicated than that, but pressure bust pipes, right? We know that in the hood. Pressure bust pipes. So there's a lot of systems in place to catch that pressure and alleviate that pressure off the bottom class that keeps having to produce resources for the upper crust, right? So that's all that is. That's what the horoscope is, the lotto, the liquor store, all of those things, right? But we have systems that work, right? We need to know that, all right? Heket, this is the goddess. This is the goddess Heket, and she's, or Hekate. They spell and pronounce her name a few different ways, but she's one of the 8. She's one of the 8. She's the goddess of grains, fertility, death, magic, etc., etc., etc. Now this is important. This is important. All right? Because her nickname was known as the Eye of Re. The Eye of Re. And why that's important is because although this is the Eye of Horus, this is also known as the Eye of Re. So it's important that this woman was known as the Eye of Re. She's also known as the goddess of magic, fertility, right? We're having serious fertility issues right now. Right? See, if you think these things are unrelated to you, and then you go out to the store and you buying all night long, satisfaction guaranteed, Viagra, boom, 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 boom. This is not so unrelated, because we having fertility issues. That's why at the store they have every type of last all night, humpback, blackfish, black dragon. I mean, They wouldn't be selling all those things if we wasn't buying them. See? That's an unpopular subject with the fellas. Next subject. Next slide. Yeah. I know. Because that's the first thing. As soon as I open up the table, like, all right, lecture's over, I got the products. Yeah, what you got for the, you know? That's the question too. The you know. You know, what you got for the you know? You know.
The you know.
You know. What you got for the you know? I'm like, nothing. Have nothing for the you know. You gotta tell me specific. Say it.
Yeah.
Say it. It's the first thing we have to do, right? If we want to deal with a problem, we have to admit that it exists.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no problem, there's no fixing. Right? So we have to know this is relative. All right? This is the system. This is our rendition of the system. Now back here you see she got like a frog head. That's because these gods were depicted with frogs' heads. The OGDOAD. All right? All of them had frogs' heads or snake heads. And then sometimes they did the males with frog heads and the females with snake heads, so on and so forth. All right? But anytime you see them frog heads, that's them. That's the OGDOAD. All right? Now she's important. That's 64. Now this is the god Khnum. Khnum is actually the one who was said to have created all the men on his pottery wheel from the clay of the earth. All right? And that's her husband, and she holding him down like, you know, good wife supposed to, etc., etc. But she's the one, if you notice, that's actually the star of the show. So even back in the days, black women wasn't getting enough credit, right? She's the one who's actually animating the body with life. That's what the Ankh is. She's animating the body with life. He's just making the body out of the clay. So she's the one actually animating the life force, but she don't get no credit. She on her knees on the sides about the god Khnum. So, you know, we got issues, black folks. That some of them are not new ones, right? They're thousands of years old issue. Right? Now, this is the Rhine mathematical papyrus. All right? And you have a Moscow and an Akhmim wooden tablet. These two I just put up here because they back up the Rhine mathematical papyrus. This is a very popular papyrus. They have it in the British Museum. What it does is it shows that the Egyptians used a measurement called the Hecate, or the Hekat, named after that goddess that I was just showing you. This is why this is all important. It's all linked together. Named after that goddess, right? And that goddess was also named the Eye of Re, right? The Eye of Re. And she was the goddess of magic and seeing and divining and all those lovely things. It's important to know because she was credited with being able to see all and know all, right? That's what that eye is still, the all-seeing eye, is still known to be the all-seeing eye. She's the reason why it's the all-seeing eye, and I'm going to explain to you why right now. This is also used as a volume of measure for size, right? And this is why everything was written in fractions of 64s, because Egyptians did everything based on this number, 64, all right? And there's an important reason, all right? So, bench that. This right here is just an FYI slide. Me being minister, I could not point this out because when I do this, people have material to research. So this I just put here just for research purposes. This is the Smith Papyrus. Every single aspect of Western medicine has been copied badly off of the Smith Papyrus. All right? And between the Ebers Papyrus and the Smith Papyrus, one of them gets credited to being Imhotep's last whatever, but
Who's that author of that book?
Robert Rittner. But you can just look for this, the Joseph Smith Papyrus, Egyptian papyrus, and you'll find it however. So I'm sure he's not the only person that wrote the books on it. But that's something that you should have in your archive if you want to understand where medicine came from and how much the Europeans have actually added to the medical canon. Because you read this, you're going to see that they haven't done anything. I'm talking about even from the tools. We use obsidian instead of stainless steel because obsidian actually slices sharper than stainless steel. Like, it's just remarkable how far we were 4,000 or 5,000 years ago and to see where we still are right now. So this is something that you want to just have for your notes. All right? But this is the science. There are 64 paths that energy takes to becoming matter. 64 pathways, and this is a science that we knew 5,000 years ago. Now, the problem where the jealousy comes in, where the hate comes in, where the GMOs come in, where the chemicals comes in, is that you have the ability to do this and nobody else does. You have the ability to partake in this and nobody else does. So we're in a situation where we create reality, but we don't know that we're creating reality. So we have had our minds hijacked by people who cannot, that have to live vicariously through us. So we have to create the world that other people want to live in order for them to want to live in it. So it's not anything that we have to do to address white supremacy, quote unquote, directly as much as it is addressing black inferiority.
That's right.
We tap into our potential, everybody else disappears by the wayside. We don't have to confront anybody directly. All we gotta do is step up to the plate, start making free throws. Like they told Shaq, nigga, just make some free throws. You want championship, just make free throws. Nobody can stop you, you're unstoppable. Hit the free throws. We're not hitting free throws. Right? All this is free throws. It's free throws. Because we no longer live in a time period where people are getting killed, their testicles and penises and breasts ripped off to read books. Like our ancestors died and bled for this. And we don't do it. Watch cable. Right? Watch 50 Cent new joint. Yeah. More people know about power than the Egyptian OGDOAD. That's disgusting. The power just came out. Some of us seen every episode.
Oh yeah.
I did. I'm sorry. All right. But I make time for this as well, so I'm balancing. Right? So sacred geometry was created as a means for us to be able to understand how energy or charge manifests itself into matter. That's what sacred geometry was for. See, we don't even got that full, so we get incomplete sciences, and we think we doing something. Cats be running up to me, oh, yo, minister, yeah, I just got the Drunk Valo Melchizedek, the Sacred Geometry Flower Life book. I'm like, for what? Yeah, Pepsi too. Like, I'm not gonna put that down. You're not even there yet. That's why we had initiation system. So we give you information you're ready for, that you're ready to put to use. Because if you're not ready to use the information, or you're not responsible enough for the information, it's not gonna do you no good. It might hurt you more than it's gonna help you, right? So now the sacred geometry we got is we look at weird pictures and we think, oh my God, hold that mantra in your mind and visualize it. Yeah. You visualize it and listen to the sound of nothing's happening. Let me let you know right now. Like we think we got deep. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. You're gonna ohm, and you're still going to have to pay rent at the end of the month. Like there's nothing happening. Our ancestors did not leave us empty sciences. This was a matter of creating. That's all that was. The pictures, the mantras. It's just for us to understand how charge manifests, how the spirit becomes flesh, how things that are ideas, intangible, plasma, become physical. That's what that was about. All right? That's what that was about. So we have to see this everywhere. We have to see this everywhere. That's why a chessboard has 64 spaces on it. This science is everywhere. And so hopefully once we see that our science is everywhere, then we'll realize there's no reason to debate. At least not the debates we're having. Because the debates we're having are we together or not? No, we got to get beyond that. We're definitely together. And if we're confused about whether we're together or not, our enemies are not. So we can argue all day about whether we're together or not. White folks still going to lump us together. And now with the situation with the Mexican and they don't even really need black folks.
They don't.
So now that question that popped up 300 years ago with Abraham Lincoln, now that question is back. What do we do with the niggers? They don't want to, they don't want to do anything. Look at WorldStar, right? YouTube is not always our friend. The internet's not always our friend. It's a tool. But like any tool, it could be used for anything. right? So the same way we could turn on Wall Star or Nicki Minaj, whatever, you could go right on YouTube and type in free Russian language. We could sit there and learn Russian for free, Chinese for free, Hebrew for free. I take whole college courses in my drawers, chilling for free on YouTube. You know why? Because rich kids go to there, instead of taking notes and all that, they'll set up their little video camera in back of the class. And they'll video the whole MIT biology course that their parents might have paid $40,000 for. Minister Enqi would come right along, some pineapples and some mangoes, and sit right down on my laptop. Boop, boop, boop. Take out my notepad and everything. I'm in class too, for free, on YouTube. So we can do anything we want with the tools that's available. That's how we're using it. If we keep exporting buffoonery for World Star, that's what the world's going to see, right? But this science is old and it's ours. It's old and it's ours, all right? 64 pieces on, 64 spaces on the chessboard, and that 64 represents the patterns, possibilities, or changes in life, all right? Because somewhere that I just showed you, in Egypt, in Africa, we knew that there was only 64 possibilities. That's just it, just 64. So now when we look at this chessboard, and I have to show this, so we can see science, right? There's more than just chess. There's more than just chess. There's mathematics. So now we're dealing with multiplications, we're dealing with size, we're dealing with spacing, and this is music. Once we deal with ratios, we start dealing with fifths and perfect octaves and all that. So this is all this is just in the chessboard. Your woman's period, the 28-day lunar cycle, on the outside of the chessboard. The lunar cycle is how they set the calendars, the clocks, the day. This is your architecture. This is all off the chessboard. This is why they call this the royal game. Right? Now, let's go over here. This game right here is called the Tower of Hanoi, aka the Tower of Brahma. Right? Because we hear about the Brahmins in India. Right? Whenever you start getting too deep into Egyptian history, you say, oh, no, there was some other Brahmins, they was around the same time. Okay, cool, because they were doing the same thing. All right? So they found this. This is the earliest game of the Brahmins. Now, Europeans called it a game. The Brahmins called this a divining tool. All right? Their priesthood used this. Three sticks with 64 discs. In various combinations to tell what was going to happen in the future. So like when you see the movie 300, and the guy got to climb up the cave and go in there and deal with the oracle, and this is the oracle. This was the oracle. All right? This was where the actual information came from. You had the priests that would work the oracle, but this was the oracle. All right? It's important to know. And the details is up there, the dates, the times, and all that stuff. But it's important to know. The Brahmins, India, right? Again, the Kama Sutra, right? The Kama Sutra, 64 possible positions. A lot of times, the stuff right in front of us, right? In Luke, from Adam to Jesus, 64 generations. Some of this stuff is just right there, right? Some of this stuff is just right there. Right? Who's this guy? Benjamin Banneker. All right? Benjamin Banneker is probably the trickiest black man in American history. That's why every few years they keep re-looking at Benjamin Banneker, adding more stuff on. All right? So the new thing now is that Benjamin Banneker must have been a Dogon. All right? And the reason being is because he knew too much. All right? So have him there to reference the Dogon, but also bring his image up into the mind of everyone that sees the lecture. It's good to know. All right? But the Dogon, the Nomo, all right? They believe that God, the architect of the world, laid out 8 covenant stones and started with 8 ancestors that made up the 8 Dogon clans that would eventually make up society. How's this coincidence? The 8. How's that the coincidence? At a certain point, all of these things have to come together, right? And some of this stuff, I'll skip the more sciencey stuff because I don't need it. I don't need it. So I can take you through, right, the nation of gods and earths, right? They tell you this number 7. That's the God body. I can take you right through the Bible and show you a list. That's just in Genesis of science surrounding that number 7 in your genealogy, right? I could then take you right back to Egypt and show you how this star, right? Because this is the hieroglyph for star, right? This is the hieroglyph representing Sirius, the Sirius star. This is the same thing used for the nation of gods and earths. The same thing, the same thing. We're looking at this star. We don't know what star this is, right? It could be the Sirius star, right? It could be. It's a star though, right? Nation of gods and earths, the universal flag, right? The hieroglyph represents Sirius has what? The man, the woman, and the child. The man, the phallus, the bread, the woman, the star, the child. Same thing. Same science. Right? So why would our 5%ers be arguing with our Kemetian brothers? It's the same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Thousands of years apart. Same thing. Same thing. Thousands of years apart. All right? And this is just here for pronunciation. Right? Because whenever you go into the hieroglyphs, you get, oh my God, well is that the pronoun? Oh. Have that. Right? Just the FYI slide. Dogon mythology says the Nomo was the first living thing created by the sky god shortly after the Nomo underwent a transformation and multiplied into 4 pairs of twins. All right? The Dogon tell us the Nomo pair, which is the 2 hydrogen atoms in all H2O, is everywhere. All right? This is very important because this is the science now, and this validates the other part. See, when I give you, say for instance, I tell you a story, and out of that story, there's 10 facts in that story. 1 or 2 of those facts is almost impossible for me to prove to you. However, the other 8 are right and exact provable. That makes the other 2 things very plausible, if not almost a certainty. You can use that as circumstantial evidence. That's what they use that for in court. Okay? The Dogon tell us that sunlight is feces from the Nomo. Right? So sometimes the story, the mnemonic device, clouds the science and then we can't understand it. So when they tell us the Nomo are actually in every element. In every element. In every element. After hydrogen, you would see that every element has 2 hydrogens or 2 electrons in the inner valence, which symbolizes those 2 hydrogens that come together to make the water. So that's the water that's in every element. When you look at the Dogon saying sunlight is feces from the Nomo, if you're looking at the Nomo as hydrogen or plasma, that is correct. Because the sunlight that we get here on the planet is actually a part of entropy. It's excess energy that the sun radiates that it doesn't need that we live off. So it actually is a waste to the sun. That's crazy to think that every living thing in our universe lives off the excess energy of the sun. Excess. Right? So we can't even make enough energy in our body to keep us going. Minister, what you got for energy? Right? The Dogon tell us these same 8 gods make up the sun in the form of 8 layers of copper. This is also correct because we know now from our very, 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 very precious tools and things that we have at our disposal that there are 8 levels to the sun, but this they knew 3,000-4,000 years ago. Right? And these are those 2 inner valence. And this is a copper atom, right? But this is what they talk about. Because every hydrogen atom has 1 electron. So once you go to helium on forward, you're always going to have those two of the first two hydrogen atoms that came together in that inner ring. So that is how the Dogon used a story to communicate science over years that doesn't lose its novelty or lose the fact in language. That's the difficulty with trying to communicate over thousands of years. As the language changes, you'll lose the facts. All right, so this is a little bit more detail, all of the different scientific discoveries the Dogon got from these 8 gods, right? This is another one, Anansi, all right? This right here, our African ancestors and our Caribbean ancestors told us about Aunt Nancy, Anansi, right? This was a mnemonic device for electromagnetic fields, right? This is what they're telling us now. The body is electric. Everything's electric. Your health is electric. This your ancestors knew 5,000 years ago, all right? This is very important that we get this. These are the actual glyphs from the Dogon, and these are the glyphs from quantum theory, quantum string theory, lined up side by side next to each other. So you can see, they wrote down thousands of years ago what science is just coming to understand right now. Thousands of years ago. This is the description of their god. The Dogon god, created a space for our planet and our existence to live inside. Now, the story describes this space as a granary, right? But just so happens, to bring us back, it gives us the measurements for this granary. And when you add up the measurements for the granary is 64 square feet. 64 feet, right? We look at copper and we know, oh my God, the melanin, black folks, melanin, we made out of copper. The weight of copper, the molecular weight of copper is 64. Just showing you. In India, 64 black mother goddesses. 64. Confucius, right? This is the statue of Confucius, what Confucius looked like in China. To me, is no question. No question. Once we look at that nose,
Dead giveaway.
dead giveaway. I'm mad that I don't have my uncle picture to put right up next to that. Right there. Dead giveaway. Right? But they still have them today. And so this is what I had to show. Right? They still have black Chinese folks that are black Chinese folks. Like, they're not, oh, you black Chinese folk? Oh, your moms must be Chinese. No. This is it. They've always been in China, and this is it. They're black Chinese folks. Right? They call them negritos and all kinds of little crazy little names that they got for black folks. All right? But black folks was there. All right? The Shi and the Shang. Those are the first 2 dynasties. Those are black people. And there's a reason why I have to show that. Because they're saying that our sciences, they're giving credit to Chinese folks for them. But I'm showing you how this got there. See? The I Ching, the I Ching. The I Ching, 64 hexagram. Divination system, the oldest classical Chinese text. And the only divination system on earth that has been proven to work. The only one proven to work. This comes right from Egypt. They don't want to give credit for that. This is why I had to take you all the way through Hecate so you could see Hecate was the eye of Re. This 64 science, they started there. Everything was measured in Hecate. 64. This came right from Egypt. Right? This is how they used it. Now, why is that important? Because this is more than what we think. This is more than a divining tool. Right? Because your yin and your yang is what? Binary coding. See? Now you're getting into how computers work, how cell phones work. See? So, because we don't like to go through the hieroglyphs. We don't want to sit there and go through the hieroglyphs. We don't want to sit there and read through the scientific formulas. We don't want to do none of that work. We don't get the glory either. Because see, the people that sit there through the glyphs, that go through the formulas, that go through all the books and all that, they get to walk off with the money. They children get to dance and go swimming on yachts and all that shit because they got the patents because their parents did the work to get the money. We don't want to do all that work, so then we don't get the benefits, right? But this is what they get from combing through your ancestors' information. Bits, binary coding system, right? That's why we started that first thing off, the very first slide. So you can see where the wave particle aspect comes from. That's creation. Because both creation stories start off with the same thing. A particle coming from a wave. Whether you're looking at the creation of matter or the creation of people. No matter whose story it is. Even if you go to science. Because science, you still have that fertilized egg coming out of mommy's waters. If you go to the creation theory, you have the waters anew. If you go to the Genesis, you got the face of the deep above the water. It's the same thing. You have the spark coming from the wave, the particle from the wave. This was already in your archive 5,000 years ago. The Bagua, which is the Chinese name for the I Ching. The Bagua is simply the 8 spaces. The 8 spaces. The 8 spaces. This is very simple, binary coding. All right? Binary number system. Somebody owns a patent on that. Somebody's getting paid. Like his family, this guy here, his family would never ever work. They would never ever starve for cash because they took the time to read your ancestors' information. And we don't. There's nothing else they did. He didn't do nothing else. He went and read the things that we don't want to read and then put his name on it. Like, hey, guess what, guys? I just found out this. Whoop. We can use these 2 things and it will encode for everything. You know why? Because that's how it's already working. That's how it's already going. So we can make it synthetic and then I can patent it and yeah. Your ancestors. All right? Very simple. All right? Very simple. Very simple. Now, they have also figured out that this 64 goes deeper than just possibilities of what can happen. This is something that's tangible. This is something that's physical, which is why we have to understand this. Because guess what? You have 64 possible codons inside your body that encode for all of your genes. That same 64. The same 64 that governs the possibilities for the physical world, governs the possibilities inside your body. That's why it's not a game. So, they can break down the I gene all the way into purines versus pyrimidines, right? Which is how they use this to determine nucleobases and some of the more sciencey stuff I'm trying to skip. But amino acid sequences, right off the I Ching. And where'd that come from? The Eye of Re, the Eye of Horus. See, and we're not getting that. Because our scholars looking at the Eye of Horus like, oh yeah, they measured pharmaceutical drugs with this. Okay, that's cool, but I need to know where's the money at. I need to get to this. See, this is what I need to understand. Because they're looking at the same science, and this is where they're basing the electrical systems from. Your same electrical system runs on the same binary coding. Same electrical systems runs on binary coding. So when we're looking at the joint, and we're trying to figure out how we can get the bootleg man to hook up our electricity so we could run it without it going up, that's because somebody knows this and we don't. Electricity's free. Electricity, lightning, hits the ground, boom. Somebody else read your ancestors' material, figured out how to harness it, put it in your house. Now they sitting back like that. Every time you turn on the light switch, you paying somebody. And if you don't turn it off fast enough, it's still going. So the whole time you sitting there chilling, not wanting to read and study, the nigga who did read and study is getting paid the whole time you chilling. In fact, every time you walk through your room, boop, on that light, every light you turn on, more money. Just because we're not reading. Because we documented all this first and developed the systems to harness it. Right? So the same 64, you have 64 codons, right? They have mapped this out to the seasons. The Kabbalists are now trying to lay the Kabbalah into the I Ching. Why? Because this comes directly out of Egypt, directly from the oldest creation stories, and it has not failed. It is still accurate, and it's the only divine and true tested. Right? These are your 8 possibilities. Right? That's your Egyptian object.
Hello, non-believers out there. This is Sunday school. I am the minister. FBP.
We come around once in a blue, just to show you that we love you.
That's the commando. That's the Dogon Nomo. This is it right here. This is it. This is why Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount with the 8 beatitudes. Like, this is it. These are the 8 divine powers talked about in the Quran. This is it. There is nothing else. All of those books, all of those sciences, all of those institutions, they're just describing us. See? This goes into the 4 bases in the DNA. Old yin, thymine, young yin, cytosine, old yang, adenine, young yang, guanine. These bases that also the I Ching encodes for are the same bases that makes up your DNA. These numbers, these numbers governs the whole world that we live in. Right? A European guy, gotta give him credit. I'll be tearing their butt up, but gotta give him credit this time. I forgot his name, Timothy something. But his death was questionable. But he figured out how to take the I Ching, the 64 hexagrams, and lay them out together and actually create a calendar and a timeline. And his timeline is tested, and you can look him up. That's why I put this stuff up here so you can look him up. The timeline is tested, it's accurate. As soon as he put this information up on the web, something happened to him. I said, well, hope he had a bunch of children. Right? As soon as he put this up, something happened to him. Because it not only documented the past, but it documents the future. What's getting ready to happen. Trends, patterns. Very important. Right? Very important. Because this is why that's the all-seeing eye. This is why you got that dollar on. This is why it's on the back of your bill. Right? They know. Right? So we got to get some things correct. Pert M. Heru. All right? Pert M. Heru. That is the, like we have the Bible. We know that's the Christian canon. We have the Old Testament or the Torah. We know that's the Jewish canon. We have the Quran for Islam. When you go through the Egyptian canon, the Kemetian canon information, that's Pert M. Heru. And that is manifesting in the light. It is important because this is talking about our biology. A lot of our Egyptian scholars have read this stuff and they push this stuff. Oh yeah, Egyptian Book of the Dead. Pert M. Heru. All right, it's not the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's manifesting in the light. It is very important for us to understand that because that's who we are. That's why we've been scattered away from the Caribbean. And the people in the Caribbean, I know. I got Jamaican family and Haitian family down there. They're so brainwashed. Skin bleaching lotion is not selling anywhere on earth as fast as it's selling in the Caribbean. Jamaica is getting decimated by skin bleaching right now. And it just so happens that there are more churches in Jamaica per square mile than anywhere else on earth. Just saying. Just saying. So add that part in. All right? But Egypt, all right? I'm tired of people telling me that this means burnt faces and blah, blah, blah. No. Egypt means the house of the Ka of Ptah. The Ka is the spirit, the light body. It's important to understand this because we got to understand who we are, right? Our canon, our ancient ancestors left us is called manifesting in the light. The city where they put all these things at is called the house of the light body of Ptah. Ptah is one of the oldest created gods. In fact, he wasn't really a god. He was a man that became deified. all right? But the house of the light body is Ptah, all right? So this is about a science. You have a light body. You need to feed it that way. If you do not, this is why we sick. So if you think this whole lecture is not about your health, you're confused, and this is why we're sick. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what your body's made out of, how you know how to take care of it? You don't. Pharaoh, right? We have to understand what that means. Pharaoh does not mean king. Pharaoh does not mean king. Pharaoh means house or bloodline. All right? That's very important because there was some things that when we look back on in history, they'll be straightened out if we understood this. Right? Giza, the navel of the womb of the Milky Way. Meaning, we had a relationship. This is what our ancestors taught to all of the stars. All right? We eventually, if we live right, correctly, and et cetera, we evolve into stars. All right? We're all miniature stars. All right? So you have to live correctly, blah, 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 blah. And eventually, your Ka, your Ba, will become a star in the universe. That's very important to understand because everybody didn't have the biology to support that. This is why the light body was so important. All right? So Pharaoh was not the king. You got to get that. Pharaoh was not the king. All right? Now, real quick, this is blood information. All right? I have this here because people ask these questions a lot. Well, how did the blood types play into it? Very simple. O type blood was on this planet before Europeans. All right? The O blood type was here long before Europeans. The B blood type was here before Europeans came. Europeans came and brought with them the A blood type. All right? The A blood type. That is the newest, well, that was the newest blood type. And then once the mixing started, then we got crazy. Right? But that is the newest on the planet. AB is just a mixture of the A and B. All right? So that's not really a clean blood type. All right? But you're looking at O, which was original, then B, which was the secondary black folks, and then A, which was that European blood type. All right? The AB didn't come in until, well, the A and B came in. All right? So we got to get that. We got to get that. All right? Hatshepsut. Very good example. All right? There's a lot of controversy surrounding her. A lot of her old reliefs, her work, was either credited to another pharaoh or destroyed because she was the pharaoh, but she wasn't a king. Right? The Sultan is the king. Sultan. Right? Pharaoh is not the king. That's Sultan. All right? In fact, pharaoh didn't even come into play until like after the pyramids. So that word's not even in use, Old Kingdom. Reason being, when there were no foreigners in Egypt, we didn't have to trace the bloodline. Once foreigners and everybody comes in, now, oh, hold on. No, we all family. No, but you can't be like royalty because you're not family, you know, you play cousins. We had play cousins even back then, right? So, we gotta know, all right? This is important. Revelation, let's go back to the Bible, 19:16. He hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written. That right there is talking about genetics. When we talk about vesture, that is his skin. We talk about thigh, I mean, that speaks for itself. A name written, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Now I can go back through this and show you. I've showed you two already, where the Bible equates the shining sun, with the Lord. So this is biology again. Right? Biology again. And I got this from one of the brothers, Ngozi, I don't want to butcher his name. Afro Style. It's his YouTube, whatever the case may be. But I thought this was good. The translation from the adoration of Ra. Remember, Ra also is synonymous with the sun. So adoration of Ra could be adoration of the sun directly or adoration of the God symbolized by the sun. Right? But the translation, Torah. I thought that was crazy. It's like, wow, is that really that close to Torah? Right? We got to see this, right? It's right there. It's right there, right? The Peniel bloodline, right? People are like, what is that? The Peniel bloodline. Pineal. See, the pineal bloodline. People don't realize that that's what this is all about, the Bible. When you read the Bible, okay, you got begat. Bam! Then we get to this part with Abraham. Boom. We got Jacob. Jacob goes and Jacob wrestles the angel at Pineal. And that's when he became Israel. And that's what the whole Bible is about, tracing the children of Israel. So it's really about that one moment. What happened right there between him and the angel that made him change his name, Boop, and
Hello, non-believers out there. This is Sunday school. I am the minister. FBP.
We come around wanting a blue just to show you that we love you.
the results, obviously the rest of his genealogy's life. Something happened up there. Now, let's go to current speed. Because the science is everybody's pineal gland does not work. It's only a small group of us whose pineal glands is not calcified after their 20s. So, the book says there's a group of people that are different and marked by this, and so does modern science. Okay? So the Kemetics. This is the glyph for the car. Now, why is this important? I'm going to show you. Because when you do this, this is one of the oldest prayer forms. Stand barefoot out in the grass, real grass. And when I say real grass, I mean, well, obviously real grass, but also a park that's really connected to the earth. Because like in New York, we got a lot of subways. So you might be at a park, but under that park is the subway. So it's not really connected to the earth. So you connect barefoot in the grass, feet grounded, hands like this, facing the sun. That's one of the most oldest prayer forms. Why? Because the earth has a magnetic frequency. So does your body have a magnetic frequency. That's supposed to be grounded every so often. There's no animals on earth that's disconnected like forever. We're the only ones that don't touch. Like, when I ask this question, sometimes people really have to ask, they like look like, well, damn, I don't even remember. When's the last time you were in contact with the earth? Like, we live on it, but we don't realize we don't even touch it. We got shoes on, boots on, socks on. When's the last time we got with pavement on top of it? When's the last time we connected with the planet? If a baby doesn't connect with the mother as an infant, the baby could die just from not being loved and touched. Why? Because the baby's not being sent those frequencies. It's bigger than the actual physical act. That's what I've been trying to establish. You don't have to like believe in fairy tales to see magic at work. All you gotta do is have a baby one time and you can see magic all around you. Any woman. Like, oh, minister, you had me with the science, and you said magic, then you lost me. I'm like, okay. So you tell me what it is that when you leave your baby at the babysitter, you over here, you and your man go to the movies, and go to dinner, y'all all the way over there. Why is it that when the baby gets hungry all the way over there, your breast starts leaking all the way over there? What is that? You can't see it, you can't touch it, nobody can explain it, but we know it's a fact. As soon as baby gets hungry, the mother could be on the moon, then breast is running. What is that? That's magic. Those are laws of science that are at work that we don't understand. That's all magic is. Science that we just haven't figured out yet. All right? So it's very important that we understand that your body, your ka, your light body, the glyph for it was the same thing as the prayer that gets you back in tune with the natural frequencies of the planet and the sun. It's very important that we get that. Right? Why? Because now we're going to talk about what to do with this body to manifest the potential. I'm not going to talk about potential and then leave that on the table, right? And we back to these Beatles. Reason being is because the Beatles told the story, right? You got two different types of Beatles. And this is the biggest mystery that Minister Enqi had to uncover for everybody, because all of our Egyptian scholars, none of them noticed that. That was the big elephant sitting in the room. Because when you go through the Egyptian, the in Peru, right? When you go through the Egyptian pantheon of information, you keep hearing about this beetle, two beetles, but we only know that one beetle exists, so then we lost. Now everything is relegated to the land of myth, mythology, and boom, boom. So you figure out that white folks been playing word games with you, and there is another beetle right here. We know if the other beetle was the firefly. See, we didn't know that was a beetle though. But now smartphones, everybody can take out their cell phone. Whoop, Google search. Is a firefly a beetle or a fly? Pull up. That's a beetle. Why is that important? Because the difference between this guy and this guy, besides the flying, right, is that this guy lights up. And this is the difference between your biology and everybody else's. The same Lux genes that are here, you have. You have. And this guy right here serves as the mnemonic device for how to activate them. He shows you. We just got to figure this out. The dung beetle. The dung beetle is symbolically your melanocyte. That's why you see the dung beetle pushing the dung, the ball of duty, right? The ball of duty is symbolic of what the dung beetle carries in terms of fertilizing, being able to fertilize plants, etc., etc. Now, the plants that it fertilizes is water lilies. Water lilies and lotuses have been the same plant until the last 20 years, meaning they look almost identical. We had to actually cut them open. I say we, I mean modern science had to cut them open and look at the stamens and the inside of the plant to see that they were different. So when you go back through history and you see the lotus flower symbology, this is why you see the lotus flower symbology. It's talking about the light body, right? Now what it is with these lilies and these lotus flowers, they actually function like keratinocytes. You see, this is how they kept us dumb so long, because most people, like this is my hobby, so I enjoy doing this. But most people aren't going to have the discipline to go through all of the Egyptian pantheon of information as well as anatomy and physiology to even put these two and two together. But your keratinocytes are your skin cells, all right? Your adult stem cells. Everybody has adult stem cells that makes up their skin. They're called keratinocytes, all right? And your melanocyte's job is to fertilize these guys, all right, with melanin. So a fertilized keratinocyte is brown or black. An unfertilized one is white, all right, or pink or red, all right? Fertilized, brown or black, unfertilized, pink or brown. What stops them from being fertilized? At the same time as the melanocytes are trying to get to these keratinocytes to release what's called the melanosome, so the melanosome can actually impregnate them with the melanin, white blood cells are on the lookout to release their lysosomes, and they got beef, like the Bloods and the Crips. So white blood cells on deck, and they gang is riding a little bit harder, you're not going to have no pigment. Now, if you have plenty of pigment production, brown, black, etc., and because of your diet, that we talked about earlier, your environment, things you're listening to, people you're speaking to, the gene flips off. The switch goes off. Melanocytes no longer are rolling around with the same strength that they were before in your body. Now white blood cells pick up the pace. They start winning. They start eating these keratinocytes because they do. It's called vitiligo. And the person starts to become white. It's called vitiligo. It's very simple. Every one of your melanocytes has to take care of, every melanocyte is responsible for up to 30 or 40 of these guys, right? Up to 30 or 40 of them. And these are the flowers, right? So this is where you can see the science at work, because the dung beetle actually climbs into these flowers, fertilizes them with pollen, the same way bumblebees do. The water lilies, the water flowers, the beetles do. See? So we wouldn't even get that. And these are actually the big plant, right? Because you know every plant has a flower. That's the fruit part. So this would be the vegetable part to that same plant. Look how big that is. That's one leaf, one pod. That's not the whole plant. That's just a leaf of the plant. And the beetle is responsible for fertilization. Now mind you, these only come out in the sun. So these are photovoltaic. They come out in the sun, just like our skin. And this is what the beetle fertilizes, just like our skin. Outward, the lotus, water lily, exactly the same. They had to cut them open to see the differences. So you see the lotus everywhere. That is a water lily. All right? That's the water lily. And we just have to understand the science. And that's why Horus, right? Horus is always symbolized as a falcon. Okay, Minister Enqi, keep talking. Well, the falcon, what we have to understand is that, like aeronautics, the law of flying, air is considered a liquid because air is a plasma, just like water is. So when you look at a falcon is the fastest flying bird. Fastest flying bird. Now, flying is an electrical activity. Flying is an electrical activity. So, Horus symbolizes falcon because the falcon represents the light body, because it's electricity that allows the falcon to fly higher and faster than all the other birds, because it runs electricity through its body the fastest. That's what allows the falcon to go up to heights that a lot of birds can't reach and dive down faster than all the other birds can. It's all electricity. And figuring out the secret that flying is electric is how machines and things like that can get up in the air, whereas people commonly go, oh, well, it's too heavy to, no. It's electricity. As long as you can generate enough electricity, you can get off the ground. The more electricity you generate, the faster and higher you can go. So that's why Horus is always symbolized by the falcon. All right? It's electricity. And it's that electricity that runs through your body and your biology. Right? This is what the keratinocytes look like up close and personal. This is what's happening in your skin. All right? This is what's happening under the microscope. This is one thing to have the drawn diagram, but this is what's happening under the microscope. All right? You need to be able to see this. Europeans spend $1 trillion a year researching your biology. We don't spend $40, $50. Right? This is a hair follicle. This is why the sisters have so much trouble getting their hair to grow. You know why? Because they will not sit down to learn what a hair follicle is. However, they can be told by any foreigner what to put into their hair follicles. Right? Careers pop up. No, this is the new one. This is Placenta 3000. This has the vitamin E mixed with the vitamin F mixed with propylglycol-gacoline. And all you heard was vitamin D. It's got vitamin D in it, girl. No, I'm getting it. She said she used it for 2 years to grow her hair back. Right? But we have to know this. What's in a hair follicle? The most important thing that's in a hair follicle to making your hair grow is colostrum. Same colostrum that's in the breast milk that makes babies grow. And once we put all them chemicals in there, it kills your follicle's ability to produce colostrum, so nothing will grow in it. Don't matter what kind of chemical juice you put back on it. The colostrum don't produce, the hair's not going to grow. Period. If you don't sweat, your body won't produce colostrum. So even if the follicle's fine, but you don't exercise. Woo! Some black sisters, boys, like, I can exercise, but I'm not going to sweat though. So I got to sweat and exercise? I'm like, just be looking like. You do know that you're exercising to create sweat, right? Sweat's the end game. In fact, the exercise we might be able to do without. Like, can you just work up a really tight sweat? You got to do that. Inside every hair follicle, you also have stem cells. Inside every hair follicle, you have stem cells. All right? Inside every hair follicle, you can also have an accumulation of fat. You can also have an accumulation of mucus. You can also have accumulation of plaque. All of those same lovely things that you hear people talking about in terms of their diet. Your hair follicle is no different. So you can't eat chicken sandwich in Chinese restaurants and all that and think you're going to have healthy hair. It just doesn't work. You can't have a healthy anything on chemicals. Everything is the same. Okay? Everything is the same. And why did I put this here? Just to show you how basic in nature this is. Your hair follicle is 90% the same as an apple's hair follicle. So this is not some kind of crazy science that's, no, it's basic information. It's just that we don't know it, make it look complicated. No, you slice an apple open, it's the same as your hair follicle. Slice an apple open, boop. You even got to go to college for that. Slice an apple open, bang, figure out how to take care of your hair follicle. But we won't do that. An apple, you might get 12 of these in the bag for $3. We cut that joker open, we spend 30 cents. It's going to tell us everything we need to know about our hair follicle. We could spend 30 hours in the beauty supplies place and we're not going to know none of this. None of this. And that's the issue. We got to deal with it. We spend $500 million in the beauty supply place every year. And then we're worried about money. And that's a 50-50 problem. Because if the fellas wasn't responding, so we like to throw that all on the women. The women, y'all spending all that money in the beauty supply. If men wasn't responding, they wouldn't be spending that money. Period. So, I'm just saying, we got to let them know that they look crazy when they look crazy.
Go ahead.
Right? But some of us, we don't let them know that we think they look like this. See, because if I do the whole class like this, it just look crazy. Like, this nigga got a vest on his head. Like, but this is how we be looking at women. Like, wow, does she think that anyone thinks that that's hers? Like, does she think that? Because I'm also black. So I know that mine doesn't do that. So why does yours, and is hers yellow? Like, really? But, see, what confuses women is because all y'all looking ratchet, so then we gotta get one of y'all, it's like, oh, no, they like that. No. We just took like the best of the worst, like this, the lesser of two evils. However, when given the option for sisters without that foolishness, we will take those. And sisters that are trying the naturals know, because naturals picking up now. You got girls that's absolutely unconscious wearing natural hairstyles now, period. They're going right to McDonald's, they still getting their pork and all that. Natural hairstyle. Like, no, I don't put no chemicals in it. All right, we're going to roll with it, damn it. Black guy. Right? But we got to see this. Because the long, boring stuff is where the science is at. The long, boring stuff where the science is at. Listen to this. We are on a 24,000-year cycle calendar. What's the odds that we have 24,000 genes in our body? What's the odds on that? What's the odds? And at that point, what are we playing games for? All these different sciences telling us the same thing. We had to go down to Mayan calendar to figure this out. Like, how long do we wait as black folks? Like, we got a little something in the Quran over here. Mayan said that. Egyptian said something over there. Oh, damn, over here. What? Oh, damn, okay. We said something in the Buddhist thing. Oh, Confucius was a black man. Oh, Buddha was a black man. Oh, damn, okay, well. We got all these pieces and we still not putting it together and moving forward. Right? Brother Reggie. This is a brother that I don't often agree with. But Brother Reggie, I have to give Brother Reggie props because he found out something very, 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 very powerful about the Ankh. And you can go to the lostsecretoftheankh.com and all that kind of stuff and hear Brother Reggie elaborate on it himself. But the very simple thing he did was rearrange the four sets of twins names and realize that the four sets of twins spell out the Ankh. That's the Ogdo. It actually spells out the Ankh. So then, deeper research, it's like, oh my God, wow. The Ankh is actually showing you, the whole purpose of the Ankh is letting you know that these 8 forces, the blending of those forces with light, what creates life, not only creates life, but creates matter, but that we're possible to take place in that. And that everybody else is not available to take place in creation. That's what makes your biology special. Everybody does not have the ability to sit at the table with God like you do. We can sit at the table. Everybody else can't do that. And all they could do to us is make us deny our own seat at the table, because nobody can stop us from pulling that chair out and sitting down if we want to. Nobody. Only we can do that. So the things have to be put in place so that we never find out any of this information. We never find out how the body works. We never really figure out the secret that Albert Einstein stole E equals MC squared from Max Planck, and Max Planck got that from Egypt. We'll never get that part. We'll never get that the E equals MC squared part is not even talking about light, it's talking about consciousness being the basis of reality. That's an African concept. So they had to change it a little bit so that you get confused, because then it throws off the evolution thing, and that throws off white supremacy. So lies got to be stacked on top of lies, right? This comb right here, this comb is here only because it dates the Ankh for us, right? So we don't know how old the Ankh is, but we know, since it's described on that comb about 4,000 years old, it was at least 4,000 years old, right? So, just going back, so we get this. Some of these things I'm going to have to show you twice, all right? This is important. Egypt, the house of the Ka Ptah, so you know what the science is. This is how it got changed to Egypt, all right? This is the Greek spelling. See? All Guptos. This is just the Greek. See, a lot of times translation happens and then we take the translation as a word. Like a lot of people with the black issue. Oh my God, our people never called themselves black. Our people never spoke English. Nigga, English is a few hundred years old. So we wouldn't use black. But we would use the word that we had that signified black in the language we were speaking. So Kemetians called themselves Kemites, because Kem means black. Sudanese people had named everything after black. Sudanese is the land of blacks. You know, so all places where you seen us, we named ourselves after that. And if we didn't name ourselves that, the people that lived around us named us black or brown. Because that's what defined us. That's what separated us from everyone else. Right? So we had to see. Very simple. We have to get back to that. Right? We got to know what this is about. We got to know that this is about that light body science so we can start trying to practice it. Right? China. My oldest, well not oldest, my third oldest daughter, Antonia. Chinese. This is her thing. She's learning to speak Chinese. She loves it. So one day I'm looking, and I'm always in Enqi vision. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that. She's like, what, Daddy? This is the first letter in Chinese. I'm like, no, that's the circumpunct. That is the symbol for Ra. That is the symbol for Amun Ra. She's like, no, Daddy, that is the symbol for sun. I'm like, what? My liver almost came through the side of my stomach. I'm like, what do you mean that's the symbol for the sun in China? That's the symbol for the sun in Egypt. In fact, that's the oldest symbol for the sun on Earth. And that's also what an atom looks like. But that is definitely the circumpunct. You can look that up. And then the craziest part is I'm looking at this, which is the modern glyph. This is the old glyph for the sun, and this is the modern glyph for the sun. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, damn, that almost say L right there. So we almost went from Ra to the Elohim in one glyph in China. That's a glyph look just like L. But this right here, this is not even a lookalike. This is it. In Egypt, on the walls. This is the hieroglyph for Ra. That's crazy that this is the first Chinese glyph. The first. The first. And it's the same as it is in the hieroglyphs. It means sun, light, or the spoken word. to utter. Why? Because this is creation. Right? And then go to the Bible. Matthew chapter 6, verse 22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. That's your pineal gland. That's again going back to that same bloodline in the Bible again. It's always going to do that. Right? Even this, we hear Jesus all throughout the Bible referred to as the cornerstone. Even now that we got it in a couple of old black records, now, you know, that's certain around in the black community. I'm the cornerstone, nobody wanted. I'm the cornerstone, nobody wanted. No, the saying is the chief cornerstone. See, that's what we got to put that in, chief cornerstone. Because cornerstone and chief cornerstone different. Cornerstone could be the first stone you lay down, foundation stone, really strong stone. Chief cornerstone, on the other hand, is, where's that at? Right here. Chief cornerstone refers to this. Capstone. Capstone's only on top of pyramids. Capstones are only on top of pyramids. So when they keep referring to Jesus as the capstone on the pyramid, okay, I'm gonna just let y'all put that together, right? Throughout Romans chapter 9, throughout Romans chapter 9, Paul systematically shows that God's sovereign election has been enforced from the very beginning. He begins with a crucial statement. For not all who are descended from Israel are Israel. That's Romans chapter 9, verse 6. This means that not all people of ethnic Israel, right, the people that were born from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, belong to the true Israel, the elect of God. Reviewing the history of Israel, Paul shows that God chose Isaac over Ishmael and Jacob over Esau. Just in case anyone thinks that God was choosing these individuals based on faith or good works that they would do in the future, they add in the Bible, though they were not yet born and had done nothing either good or bad, in order that God's purpose of election might continue, not because of works, but because of him who calls. So there's nothing else but his biology. There's nothing else but his biology. And if you watch Esau and Jacob come out, they make sure to mention that Esau's biology was so drastically not only different from Jacob, but everybody else's. They had to tell you, ooh, this one came out red. So yeah, that was wildly abnormal moving forward, but this one was red. So this is biology. This is biology. I'm showing you that this is biology. And I could go even further here and show you how this word right here, elect, is translated from Horus. But I'm going to leave that alone. Because Horus, the translation is to the elect. So it's a whole nother level to this. However, biology, this is what we have to get. Right? We have to get this. Right? We talked about this. The Sultan is the king, not the pharaoh. Right? Distinction. This is important to know. This is what separates. That which separates. Why is the distinction important? Because a distinction at the most basic level becomes a bit of information. So you see, this is a running theme to see how creation creates distinctions in the creation. That becomes a bit of information, and those bits of information are what we use to either kill ourselves or do what we need to do. So we talked about this. This is what we have to understand. See, this is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. See, we lazy. We're not going to go through the hieroglyphs. We're not going to go through the textbooks. We're not going to go through the homework. We're not going to go through none of the hard work. Because see, that's the one thing that all of these different groups of people have in common. When you read the Quran, they got a whole list of disciplines and a whole list of things that you have to do and not do to participate in the culture to qualify yourself as one of those people, on top of being a part of the bloodline. On top of being a part of the bloodline in the Bible, you still have a code to live by to be a part of those people, to reap the benefit of being a part of those people. Everybody has that code. We, on the other hand, like to study groups of people, not live by the code, and tie ourselves in and think that somehow there's a benefit to that. All these Christian folks in America, black, how the hell Do we have type 2 diabetes problem? How the hell do we have a high blood pressure problem? There's no chicken, there's no macaroni and cheese, there's no potato salad, there's no cornbread anywhere in the Bible. So all these Christians, how's niggas sick? They're not following the diet plan. How many Muslims, hard body Muslims, they on insulin? I'm like, dude, you do know that they synthesize insulin from pig's blood, right? So you can't be a Muslim and take insulin. You cannot be a Muslim and take insulin. That is pork, you get pork directly injected into your blood. Can't be a Muslim and be on insulin. See? That's why white folks laughing. You playing games, so I'm insulin. I love to walk ball. You on insulin.
Yeah.
You ain't nothing. You're not even a threat. Not even a threat. You're on medication. We just stop giving you your medication. What you gonna do? You stuck. You're gonna be one of the crazy niggas raiding the pharmacies when lights go out. No. We gotta know. See, if we don't do the work, then these people do the work, then they get to live and take the identity. So we don't want to do the work to be the people in the Bible. Cool. Cool. Them little Khazars, them little Europeans from the mountains, they'll wear the black suit every day, the big hat every day. They'll stop and and they do it like it's crazy in New York. It looks like a movie. If you on Broadway, it looks like a movie. I swear, it looks so crazy. You just see people stop moving. Like everybody's walking, everybody's life is going on, and then the people stop. And there's so many of them, it just looks wildly scary. Like yo, it's all just stop. You go right into prayer. Right on the street, like wherever they are, they're going right into prayer. And then boom, they're back. I'm like, yo, this shit's crazy. They dead serious. That's why they got what comes along. That's why they got what comes along with that. I watched Ron Artest, his dad. Ron Artest come from Queensbridge Projects. Ron Artest had to work every day, day in and day out. His dad had him working on basketball. Every day, day in and day out. There's no partying up the place with them niggas. You'll see. Them niggas will be one place and you'll be somewhere else later on. And that's what happened. He paid the dues, put the work in later on. Now he's a championship basketball player, and the people who had a good time, well, they have good times to look back on. He has hard work that he can look back on. Like, this is why I'm here. My hard work. Most of everybody else, they got good memories. You got good memories to fall back on. Hopefully that provides you with a good cushion. Right? But this is the reality. We don't do the work to uphold our ancestors' legacies, right? And they told us this. We don't say their names. We don't give them reference. We don't breathe life into their stories. Someone else will assume their identity. Look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You add in one more, that's 8. And you add in one more, that's 9. Because the OGDOAD are the 4 sets of twins created from the one hidden God, which is the number 9. So if you don't hear about the OGDOAD or the Kemetic, you'll hear about the Enqi. And the Enqi is the 9. Alright? So you look. This is what happens. We become whitewashed. Our history gets replaced. Hollywood will rewrite it. This is what our children's minds will reflect. It doesn't matter what we say in small groups like this. Our masses of children will think about this guy when they think about an Egyptian pharaoh. That's where the confusion is going to come in. They're going to think about these guys when they think about Egyptian pharaohs, Persian pharaohs. When they think about all of our history, they're going to see these guys. You got to realize, Arabs are really tanned white folks. It's just white folks still. Got to get that. Yeah, like this guy is not a black guy. Like we get confused. He got different shaped eyebrows and like, no, it's still a white guy. All right? And then we see the bogus images that come out of Egypt though.
Yeah.
We don't see no forward facial, right? Everything is from the side. And then it's like the real streamlined. No. There's a whole bunch of stuff in Egypt that's very detailed that you can't get around. It's stuff that looks like this. Yeah. We're going to come back to that one. We can see that. Yeah, look at that. Frontal face view. I mean, that's like a clear. That one almost to keep it 100. It almost looked like Barack. It almost looked like Barack with them big, huge ears.
Change the moves pattern.
Yeah. But that's clearly black. That's clearly black. Like, that's no confusion about that. And we created all the colors and dyes. So there's no confusion where they getting ready to tell you, oh, well, it was symbolic. When they used the black, it was symbolic. And it was, stop. Because we had all the colors. So whatever color we were symbolizing, we would have used that one. Okay, it's black because it's black. Okay, that nose is fat. See, that nose and them ears and them lips, it can't get around them jokers. It's tough. What you gonna do with that nose? That's why they had to shoot it off, right? Everything else, confusion. Yeah, you might be able to. That nose it's over. All right. So we got to see that, and it wasn't just one. Right? It wasn't just one. We had these all over. Right? But this is our system. This is what's happening internally. Right? And this is a little sciencey. So I'll give y'all the basics. But this is what's happening in your body. These right here are called histones. These histones are the actual equivalent of those 4 sets of twins inside your body. These 4 sets of twins, the same 4 sets that we've been talking about, the same 4 sets that the Dogon talk about, the same 4 sets the Chinese talk about, the Egyptians talk about, that makes the 64. These same 8, the same 4 sets of twins is right here swimming around in your blood plasma, writing the information into DNA. That's into DNA. So we hear about DNA. DNA contains all the information, blueprint for the body, yada, yada, yada. What we never heard about was the histones. The histones are the guys that write the information onto the DNA. These are the guys that your ancestors were trying to tell you about. Those are the guys that control creation inside your body. Those are the 4 sets of twins that comes from the one. Right? Now, proof. Here's proof that there's some science that you might think is mumbo jumbo that is being hidden from you. Why? I'm going to show you. This right here is the temple of Teti. Right? So, in this lovely temple, you're going to make it like you was Indiana Jones or something. Right? So you're on your quest. You find these kind of things like, oh my God, I must be getting close. Finding stuff that looks like me. And then you come across this road and there's a little stuff there and you're like, oh my God, this is my Harrison Ford moment. You dig in, you get inside, you see this tomb, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is crazy. Then you start reading, you're like, oh my God, this is from the 6th dynasty. This is from the 6th dynasty, this is old kingdom. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute, what is this thing saying? Let me take pictures of it and throw it on Instagram. Every type of way I can take pictures. Right? And you know Instagram wasn't out there because those would have been selfies. So we get down to the text. What is it that our ancestors thought to etch in stone to leave to us? Right? Now this is important because this is how the pyramids are laid out. That's how the pyramids are laid out. So it's important to see 369. That's that number again, the hidden one in the 4 sets of twins, right? This is what's actually written there. This is what's actually written there, all right? This is the Metal Netra, so I will not be reading the Metal Netra for you. We'll be skipping that, all right? Breathe is the word, Sa-bound for the blue void, nirvanic, gigantic, so that such a son will be an elder Teti who opens the body. This blue void, I'm going to show you in a second, is the locus coeruleus at the top of the brainstem. I'm going to show you in a second. It's important to get this though. Okay, here we go. Breathe is the word saw bound for the tunnel of near-death experiences, so that such a son will teti be for the body. All right? So I'm going to breathe in this meditation to prepare for when I die, so that I'll be ready for when I actually do die. Right? Now, just wanted to remind you where this place is again. Right? Pineal, right there. I just want y'all to see how close this region is. So when you see all these discoveries and things, know that this is a body of science that existed in this region. All right? Whenever breathe is the word bound for the gigantic blue void, which is in charge of the mind of the lower embodiment. So that such a son will be Teddy, a beloved one. Right? So he's talking about he's going to do these practices so that he'll be such a son. He'll be a beloved one. All right? And that's also intriguing because the glyph for that is an M and an R, which goes back to the Moorish and all that kind of stuff. So this is what's written. This is actually what's written. Whenever breathe is the word Sa, bound for the blue void. Oh Teddy, telekinesis will happen because your left sister's eye has been set in place for you. All right? Your left sister's eye, that's attention. That's this eye. All right? The eye of Horus we just looked at. It's set in place. It's set in attention for you. All right? So that it will hold fast in you, so that it will set in place for you your mind of your body implosion. Oh, excuse me, for your mind of your body. Whenever breathes is the word Sa, bound for the blue void, telekinesis will happen because your right sister's eye has been set in place for you. So that it will be set in place for your mind and your body. All right? So it's giving you the pattern to create telekinesis, to be able to create things with your mind. All right? This is what's important, because we have to understand this is what your ancestors were writing down. This is what they don't let niggas read. This is why they taped the pyramids off. This is why they boxed you out of the pyramids. They don't want you to read none of this information. It's detailed. Step by step. What you need to do to get these things prepared. And what we don't see here is the preparation of the body for some of these feats. See, so this is why this was only for the royalty. Because a lot of these things that they selling in Barnes and Nobles and build up your telekinesis ability, be able to see the aura in 15 minutes. Like all of those things, although they may be possible, was not possible for the layman. It took time to prep and purify the body. So even if you read the Quran or the Bible, before every miracle, every prophet had to fast. The body has to be prepped, right? So it just goes into further detail. Now, this right here is the actual locus coeruleus at work. All right, these are the actual pics of the brain, so you can see that this blue void is for real. Because see, when you read that stuff and it's like, oh, that was on a pyramid, yeah, okay. Then when you put the brain under light, you see this blue light in the middle, like, Let me look back at what they said.
Hello, non-believers out there. This is Sunday school. I am the minister. FBP.
We come around once in a blue, just to show you that we love you.
So it's there. You can't say you don't have the info, because the minister gave it to you. This is where it is, on the top of the brainstem. Why is that important? Because, like I said, all of the science is about our biology. So the same way there's 12 zodiac signs, we are miseducated on how that ties us into the universe. We have 12 melanated centers on the brainstem. Those 12 melanated centers are what ties us into the 12 areas of the cosmos, and that's what ties us into the zodiac. The locus coeruleus is the one at the innermost region before you get all the way to the midbrain, and then you are sitting right under or right in between the pineal and pituitary. All right? But this is light body activation. Right? This is why, and this is here, you see? This is your eye. This right here is a picture of the Earth's magnetosphere. The magnetic field that holds the plasma in that keeps the Earth safe. It is the exact same as your eye. So when we go through the Pert and Heru and we hear about, see, this is it right here. This is your eye, but at the same time, this is the Earth's magnetic field. This is important to understand. Your body encapsulates it all. So it's one thing for us to hear about as above, so below. It's another thing to see it, right? But the bark of Re, we hear the stories about the bark of Re, right? This is in the pyramid text. The bark of Re. The bark of Re is actually the boat, a boat that travels through the afterlife, which is the course that your DNA takes to come and seed this planet or leave this planet and become a star before or after you die, all right? The traveling through this is called through the afterlife, and you travel on the bark of Re. This is what our ancestors left us. But here's the scientific proof. Inside the eye, you have something called rhodopsin. And rhodopsin is the actual protein that absorbs the photon, and it actually changes shape into the shape of a ship when it travels with the photon. So this is what the bark of Re was talking about inside the Pert and Heru, our ancestors' text, when they were talking about these various, all of this is biology. We have to understand how this works. If you don't have brown and black eyes, this is not even happening in you. You don't have brown and black eyes, it's not even happening in you, right? This is your brain. This is extremely low frequencies. We have to talk about this real quick. In the magnetosphere, right, it keeps the extremely low frequencies bouncing around on the inside, all right? There's a problem because we are particularly vulnerable to them, all right? So now, what does Abraham have to do with extremely low frequencies? All right, I'll tell you, all right? Because Abram, right? See, we got to go into some of these things sometime. Abram went through a process, and something happened in that process, and then he became Abraham, right? Now, what happened? And we can look at his name. Well, this is the Hebraic spelling with a V instead of a B, right? But if we look, what happened? They just added an H, right? Something happened, they added H. What is the H? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, man, H is the 8th letter? Whoa. So something happened to my man, changed his biology somehow, and then they added the H, the 8th letter, into his name. Okay, we'll sidebar that for now. Let's just deal with the Hebrew, because the H it only works out that way when you deal with it in English. Let's deal with the Hebrew. If we take his name in Hebrew, and we convert it to numbers, because all Hebrew letters and words have a number attached. His number is 808. The number of Abraham is 808. So not only is it 808 again, right? Not only those 8s again, but it's something that we need to know about extremely low frequencies, right? There's the eightfold path to Buddha, right? There's that 8 again, the eightfold path of Buddha. So we know Buddhism is based on that number 8 as well, right? And when we look deep into Abraham's story, this is what they tell us. Oh, he was living by the right view, wisdom, he went on the eightfold path, and Okay, cool. I'll let y'all have that for now. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. We know we live in the Matrix. Abraham is the #1 computer software. We live in the Matrix. Abraham is the #1 computer software. Abraham is like Microsoft, right? Because if we look at the two most powerful forms of social conditioning, I don't even want to say mind control, because I'm very religious. So I'll just say social conditioning, right, is religion and pop culture. Well, if you look at religion, all 3 religions trace themselves back to Abraham. If you look at pop culture also traces itself back to Abraham, because all of the music, all of the synthetic music is 808s. All of the synthetic music is 808s. And if you don't know what 808 is, that's the bass. the extremely low frequencies. That's what bass is. Extremely low frequencies. Extremely low frequencies is the part that accesses your brain. That's why we had to move from the extreme low frequencies, boop, boop, boop. I know y'all looking like, did he just go magnetosphere, extremely low frequencies? Abraham? Yes, we did. All the synthetic music. Back to this gentleman right here. This is the computer software that is killing us in the matrix right here. Because we don't understand it. We have to understand it. So whether you at work or you at play, you still 9 out of 10 times operating under this computer software. Operating under this computer software, right? I am a heavy believer in the Bible, but I don't read it with any filters on my eyes. I go cover to cover. I know that Abraham would not consider himself a Hebrew. He was from Ur, Chaldea. So then that means that the whole line is, okay, all right. We gotta do some reading, right? So, religion taps into our conscious mind, the music, our subconscious mind, and this is why this is the Matrix computer software, all right? And just for the people that go to the advanced levels and go to the online classes and stuff, and we'll be taking it to a much more in-depth level, H is symbolic of being an ancient geneticist. So, this was a symbol, like a badge. You got that added as an initiation when you went through certain degrees. So, ELF fields even goes through the skin. We have to understand that. ELF fields go through your skin. So we got to understand the basis is, we have no idea what's being communicated to us through that music. Because the bass, you know the science is real because somebody could have a bass up in their car and you could feel the bass before you could even make out the sounds. You just feel it. And when you buy the big speakers for your car, I know because I bought some. That's all you're looking for is the woo. It ain't even the sound quality. Sound quality come later. For now, first, I just want my joint knocking. Once I get that, then we could work on getting me some bigger wires and all that, quality, EQ and all. No. I want that knock, right? And it changes our mood. Changes our mood. Music precedes everything. So even cats, you know, you get ready to go make up with your woman, certain type of music you put on. Get ready to go shoot up the neighborhood, certain type of music you put on. Get ready to go to your mama's house, certain type of music you put on. Holiday time, certain type of music come on. Music sets the precursor for everything. Certain type of music. That's why we started off. Remember I showed you the two parents, two babies. One was in the womb reading the book, the other one was listening to headphones. You already know he in trouble, right? So we got to understand this, right? Come back. This is important. So we understand these theta waves. These go right to the subconscious mind. That's your 808s. That's your bass. They go right to the subconscious. Right to the subconscious. So this is how Abraham is able to be that best-selling software for the Matrix. Software is so good, we program ourselves now. Program ourselves, right? Because we'll get in the studio and we doing all kinds of new music and we trying out new sounds and cats buying keyboards, type of keyboard. I know producers, like, they having contests. Like, nah, I got like 12 keyboards. No, I got this keyboard with that sound competition. Go to Jamaican music, the reggae stuff, they sound boys. This sound battles this sound. Everybody's still in the same 808 though. I'm like, wow, nobody noticed that. That just went right under the radar. No matter what you're doing, pop, R&B, rap, hardcore, gangster, smart, whatever. That 808 is right there. Beyonce, everybody, same 808. Dre, Snoop, oh, same 808. So we have to get this. The more coexistence, the more surviving. We gotta start winning. Right? We gotta start winning. We have to understand what this is about. Right? Anybody that Anybody that has ever heard cholesterol is bad for you and believed it, you are an enemy to your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is made out of almost 100% cholesterol. So if you don't have cholesterol and you don't consume cholesterol on a daily basis, how are you going to have a healthy one? Your nerves are cholesterol. The myelin sheath that covers them, when it disappears and it causes MS, it's cholesterol. You have to have that. See? This is your brain chemistry. All of this stuff in here is cholesterol. This is your midbrain. This is where all the orders come from. Your pituitary, your pineal. Everything sitting around those ventricles. That's all cholesterol. Right? All right, so this, I try to put this everywhere because black folks need this. Like I could have came here, this would have been worth y'all money for me to just come here, put this up on the screen, sit down, answer questions about this, and go home. Because this is the biggest problem black folks deal with that don't live on the equator. Black folks in America specifically, vitamin D deficiency. All right, and then we had black folks, holistic healers that came and did us dirty. All right, they said, oh, you black, you got melanin. That means all you gotta do is go outside 5 minutes, you get all the vitamin D you need. That is a lie. You need to be out there in the sun longer than everybody else. You need to be out there longer than everybody else. And the black woman's got to be out there longer than the black man. Because her fat cells are on average 20 to 40% bigger than ours. Because she has to breastfeed and make baby and all that kind of stuff. So she has to be out there longer for that sunlight to penetrate through her skin and convert the cholesterol into vitamin D. I want y'all to get that. Cholesterol is vitamin D. You have to know that. The sunlight hits your skin. The cholesterol that is in your body then gets converted to vitamin D. What does that mean, minister? That means if there is no cholesterol, you could be buck naked on the beach in Jamaica for 24 hours. You will not make any vitamin D. You have to know that. Because we have white folks filling us up with statin drugs and things to eliminate cholesterol. Right? The pinealocytes. Right? These are the little cells in the pineal gland that does all the work. Right? We have to understand how these guys work in connection with our sexual energy, in connection with our kundalini, in connection with the light that moves through the body. Why is it that in Genesis chapter 32, it talks about Jacob's ladder. But because we don't see it, because we don't understand the science, we don't understand that Jacob's ladder is really the 10 layers of the retina. And it's there. When you go through, it tells you. All you gotta do is read through and you'll see. The 10 layers of the retina. All right? It's very important. The thigh, the optic nerve, right? This is your hamstring. They're telling you. That's why it's hamstring. That's why it's hamstring. It's your hamstring. That's the blackest, one of the blackest areas in your body because of the high electrical traffic through there. That's one of the most electric nerves in your body. All right? Most electric. Goes directly up to the pituitary and the pineal. That's why heavy bodybuilders, they go and the first thing they do is legs. Because that thigh is going to send a signal to the brain to produce growth hormones. Right? All of that. Right? This is important though. See, we got to get this. See? Just from the reaction I got when the slide came on. See? We like this. We like this. And because we like this, sisters want to look like this. But here's the problem. I can see her cellulite in the front. See? So we sacrificing our health for short term. Because she only going to look like that, especially if she let diet do that, she only going to look like that for maybe 5 years or so. If she lets muscle do this, work, it'll stay like this. We all know girls that had the banging shapes. The girls with the best shapes in junior high school and high school be the ones that look the most ratchet by 30. because they had it given to them, they don't feel like they got to work to maintain it. So by the time they're 30, that thing look terrible. The girls that ain't have no body, no breast, no booty, they had to do 1,000 squats just to get a little something. They think look super tight. 35, 40, 45, because they done created those habits. Now they're always going to eat decent. They're always going to be in the gym because they have good habits, right? This is a problem because this is the most troublesome area. And whenever you develop chylomicrons, which are the little fat cells that give you cellulite, that's letting you know your liver's already shutting down.
Wow.
Because it's the liver's job to deal with the chylomicrons. So anybody, especially men, once we pop up with that foolishness on the back of your legs, you know you're in trouble. You should be ashamed of yourself anyway. Seriously. Come on, dude. Just think about the view from behind, yo. You don't want to be looking, no. Women look from behind, so just saying, that's supposed to be. Everything ain't supposed to be hanging. All right, so this is what we have to know also though. This is important. The OGDOAD is even built into our neurochemistry. Our neurochemistry. The neurons that are responsible for interpreting sound are layered in octaves in your brain. Layered in octaves in your brain. Let me show y'all. Wait a minute. First of all, octave is already right here. Wait a minute. Octave is already right here. We're dealing with the 8 right here. The octave, we're already dealing with the 8. This is how sound manifests. Sound is vibration. Vibration is life. So you're already dealing with the science somewhere else. You've been looking at the science your whole life. The octave is right there in front of you. Right? 7 notes comes back to the 8th. It's the same thing, another frequency. All right. This is what it looks like. You know, Minister Enqi's not going to leave y'all hanging. You know, I'm going to bring in the pictures under the microscopes and all that so you can see. Your neurons are laid out in sets of 8 in octaves. Right? This is why the pyramids was built this way. See? There's something that we still got a lot to learn. The pyramids are even laid out, and I have them here so you can see pyramids, how they're laid out. The pyramids are laid out. The distance that they are from each other is actually in musical ratios. So you see, the Great Pyramid of Giza is at a major third, looking at the angle how it's offset. You see? The pyramid that we're talking about, Teddy, the one that had all the fly, the inscriptions I was just reading, that's a perfect fourth. You see? Set in stone. So you can see this science is built into your biology. Into your biology. Inside the king's chamber. The holes, the outside. The little holes outside, the walkway inside, the air passing by the pyramid. The air passing by the pyramid creates an F-sharp chord. Now, why is that a big deal? Because that F-sharp chord is the same as the frequency of the earth. So the wind blowing past the pyramid, making the exact same F-sharp chord as the frequency of the planet, that all being tuned in your body, which is what you can tune back into every time you tune back. This is just too easy once you know the science. The days of the week, the calendar. See, I gotta go through it all so we can see. The days of the week, the calendar, is laid out in the 8s. Like, no, it's not, minister. It's 7 days in a week. Yeah, but the 8th day is the octave. When I go through the notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That C again is the octave. Every time you go to the C, that's an octave. This is an octave. If I go from Sunday to Sunday, that's an octave. Oh, come on, minister, you reaching. No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you why I'm not. Because the church had more octaves than anybody else. In fact, till recently, most people would have associated octave not with music, but strictly with the church. Because all of the church holidays is that way. All of the holidays. All right? So you had the 8 days for all of the major feasts. All of the major feasts they did octaves on. Leviticus 23:36. Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 7:9. Look it up yourself. All right? Liturgical octaves. Put them, lay them out for you. Even the popes, as they're reducing the octaves to try to get your information out of the open. All right? The octave of Christmas contains many universal feasts. Right? Because we still do this. We still do this octave around Christmas. We still celebrate that. Even those of us that don't even have, we're not even paying attention. But it's like that Christmas always goes to New Year holiday. That whole time we celebrate. That's how the octaves work. A week after the day you still celebrate. Right? And we can see this everywhere. I can keep going. Genesis chapter 1. The 64th word of the Bible is light. Just to play with it. Like, I just open up the book. Let me play with this thing and see what happens. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Who would have guessed it? Just count 64 words in and find that there. Right? In geometry, this is called a dysphenoid. I said a dysphenoid. What the hell is a dysphenoid crystal? Dysphenoid crystal is a pyramid. I said, wow. What makes that special? Dysphenoid pyramid is a pyramid that you put together with 8 pieces. You look right at Giza and you see. You put this together with how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see. It's right there. Over and over and over. It's right there. Your science, Amun, right? Going back to Amun, right? Going back to Amun. Your science is everywhere. He's also known as the Green Man, right? And this is the stuff they tell you is myth. Green Man, myth. Osiris, myth, myth. How come it's myth if, you know, where's our boy? Somewhere in here. British biologist, JBS Haldane, blah, blah, blah. These guys discovered ammonia and amino acids where? At the Temple of Amun. At the Temple of Amun. So now, if him being the Green Man in charge of all vegetation is a myth, how come it is that 100% of all fertilizers, the #1 ingredient is ammonia? Because the nitrogen is what they use to grow the plants. They found that at the Temple of Amun, which is why they named ammonia, and why they named amino acids, because they found them at the Temple of Amun. This is your biology. I mean, but somebody got to show you. See? So when the Nazis get a hold of it, it's going to come back at you a different way. 1908, Fritz Haber, a German chemist, received a patent for industrial process for efficiently making ammonia. It used, now watch this, pay attention to this stuff. He received a patent for industrial process for efficiently making ammonia. It used an iron oxide catalyst to make nitrogen and hydrogen combine at high temperatures and pressure. That's what's happening inside your body every day if you got high blood pressure. This is your blood. Your red blood cell. Scratch a lie, find a thief. You got to be able to see. 1908, the Germans learn how to take iron and use iron as a catalyst to produce ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen. And where do we get nitrogen from? You get nitrogen from the air every time you breathe, but the largest source of nitrogen we take in is from meat. Chicken, turkey, pork, fish, nitrogen. This is why black folks is on dialysis machines, because we're producing more ammonia in our body than our liver and our kidneys can take care of.
Ooh. Some chicken to give you high blood pressure?
Of course. Yeah, chickens are super foul. They got to give chickens fungus before they even lay eggs to eat. My chicken's off the chain. Chicken's no worse than the pig now. Really can't eat no animals. Even outside the scientific, like just the barbarism, like the crazy, like unless you're gonna get like a turkey or a deer, like, then I don't know. But anything that other people eating, you can forget about it. Because the demand is so high. The demand is so high. So they gotta bump up the life of it. They get too crazy. So you gotta see, this is what happens though when the Europeans get a hold of how your body works and you don't know how your body works. This is very simple. You're gonna be ingesting stuff on a daily basis that produces ammonia in your body. You don't even know that Europeans have an ammonia transport system and you don't. Which means that they can have, I don't know, just for example, they can have a quart of ammonia. You have a quart of ammonia. It's going to kill you where their body can process that ammonia and yours can't. Different biology.
How can that?
Because they have an ammonia transport system attached to all of their cells. Their body, they actually come from rhesus monkeys, yeast, fungus, that's their lineage. So they have an affinity for that. The only two natural organisms on this planet that have an ammonia transport system is the rhesus monkey, not even all monkeys, the rhesus monkey and yeast, candida, yeast.
And they have that.
And they have that. We don't have that. Our body wants to take nitrogen and create nitric oxide so we could use it as something to build the body and get rid of. So we have a system in our body where we take the nitrogen and try to make nitric oxide out of it. But most of us don't exercise, so nitric oxide ain't gonna do us no good anyway. So if we exercise, that nitrogen will be used so that every morning we could salute. The women, their breasts will be nice and perky, but that's not happening. So the men's not waking up in the morning with a salute. The women's breast is looking crazy. This women's breast is looking crazy. They don't even got no children. Like, hold on, why are your joints hanging down? You ain't even fed no babies. Like, what are those joints doing like that? Like, come on. Flapping them joints, they're just coming back down. Like, you get dressed again. I don't want to do nothing with that. Right? We looking crazy. Listen, we got to think like that. If the ancestors that we call on and count on was to come back, would they even recognize us? All of the Christians waiting on Jesus. If Jesus popped up tomorrow afternoon, would he recognize you? No. You full of McDonald's and cheeseburgers and no, you're not going on the ship, the plane, the alien, the UFO, whatever is the method, the car, the horse, the camel, however the Savior's coming and however the saved are leaving, you won't be in that number. You no longer represent. If the Egyptian, if Osiris pop up tomorrow, he's not going to recognize, like, whoa, ooh, no, the white folks are not real. You niggas, what happened to you guys? You guys are now genetically modified. You have to watch that. So I'm gonna be pushing for labeling in our community. I need the children to be labeled. I need to know who's who. Start labeling these parents because I don't want your genetically modified children mixing with my organic ones. Yeah. You keep that messed up semen right on over there. You ain't spraying none of that around here. We want good quality stuff around here. We gotta get back to that. No, but that's why back in the days it was arranged marriages.
Yeah.
It was arranged. You know, you can have fun. They call that sowing the royal oats. You can have fun all you want. But now you're making children with this girl right here. Because we know her mama, we know her daddy, we know her mama's mommy, and her daddy's daddy. Like, no, them genes good. Right? We gotta learn. Right? We gotta learn. Free fatty acids. Free fatty acids. Those same, very same ammonias. Those very same ammonias. Do what? Lock up the, where we at? Lock up your body's ability to produce adiponectin. That means that your body cannot get rid of the fat cells. That's what your body produces. The muscle cells produce adiponectin. When you eat fruits, berries, the body gets adiponectin. That destroys fat cells. When you get too much free fatty acid floating around in your body, that will clog all of your cells' ability to communicate. That will create type 2 diabetes all by itself. But that's, again, from our lovely, lovely, lovely inability to learn who we are. Right? Very simple. Even the moon, 8 phases. Like this 8 is so, I could really be here for like 72 hours and do this. When you leave here, you're gonna get this. This is why, look, the 8 cycles of the moon. When you make the 64, you go around the 64, the 28 is there, the cycle's there. When you deal with math, it's thorough. Right? Look at the planet. Pluto has never been a planet. Let me just give y'all the science on that. Pluto has never been a planet. You've always had 8 and 1. 8 and 1. Your DNA. Right? You're ready to close this thing out. Alright? I had to put that up there. So you can see, they even getting the babies ready. like this thing is so basic.
I wanted to go back to the planet thing. Why did they, change the fact that Pluto's not a planet now?
Oh, because we got stone tablets that they done unearthed in Egypt. What's this other city? They got Sumeria. They got them in, but there's another one. I think it's Nineveh. Some other city next to Egypt. It's not Sumeria. It's not. It might be Iraq. I think it is Iraq. They unearthed the plates and all that. That's what the looting was. They were talking about during the war. They was going under there to get all that stuff they unearthed. Like, oh my God, they found Nebuchadnezzar's library. Get it all. Tell them about the oil or something. Tell them an explosion. I don't know. Iraqis, they're terrorists. They're everywhere. They're even attacking the terrorists. Like, I was like, wait a minute, niggas are that dumb? That flew. Nobody questioned that. We was into so much Al-Qaeda that we missed when they said Al-Qaeda attacked Al-Qaeda. Nobody even said, hey, wait a minute, hold on. Nigga, did you just say Al-Qaeda attacked Al-Qaeda? Yep. And we went for it. All of our antiques, all of our history that came up from under Iraq vanished overnight. Just as fast as they found it, it vanished. Al-Qaeda did. Oh, man. But they got to play games with the numbers on things like that because, again, circumstantial evidence. If we pull up some plates and we see 5,000 to 6,000 years ago they had an accurate count on planets, it's like, whoa, what else do they have an accurate count on? Now we have to give credibility, and then the science that they left behind can no longer be called mythology and all kinds of other foolishness that they insult us with, right? So this would give too much credence, especially when you know that the Dogon talked about the 8, the Egyptians talked about the 8. All of the oldest cosmologies go back to this 8 creating everything else, right? So this is the 8, right? Talk about their need. I go through the 8 individually. Alright, so some of these I'm trying to skip so y'all can, y'all hungry. Minister Enqi don't give no breaks. Right? I didn't get a break studying to write this, so you don't get a break while I'm delivering it. All right, so here's some books I try to suggest to people to read. Biosemiotics. Biosemiotics is the new advanced quote-unquote course that they're hiding all of our Egyptian sciences under. Biosemiotics. Biosemiotics.
What courses? Where are these courses?
They're not held anywhere. See, this is how information, science stays secret. Because certain stuff you have to take as an elective, or you have to go look for the class. Like there's no mandatory, there's no course, there's no job where you have to have a biosemiotics credits in. That's something that you have to want to study and go look for, right? But what they're talking about is how information is encoded into pictures and how that information then affects the biology of living organisms. So who else even did that? When you even read the course description, how you encode information, large bits of information into pictures, and how that then affects biology. Like, they would only even think to create a course like that after studying the hieroglyphs. But not us. That's where my problem comes in. Because we got black folks over there taking mad pictures in front of the glyphs. Yo, I've been to the glyphs 25 years in a row, like 30 years in a row. I take people to Egypt. So what are you doing with what you come back with? You went to Egypt 30 times in a row. You still can't even make a TV. Nigga, like, what are you doing? White folks went over there one time. They made TVs, laptops, apples, everything. Our whole world is now powered by what they saw that one trip. We done been over there how many times? 100? And we can't even make we don't even have an African satellite. Africans that live in Africa do not own a satellite for that country. That's crazy. How does that happen? How does that happen? Nobody wants to do the hard work, right? This guy right here. This is the part we gotta know. See, back to the Nazi party again. If you follow Minister Enqi long enough, it's gonna make sense. Why? The Thule Society. We need to know about the Thule Society. This is the origins of biosemiotics. This guy, Friedrich Solomon Rothschild. Bam! Bam! See? Follow the money. That's what I do. The health's cool, all that's cool, but I want to be healthy and then broke. Like, you can be alive for a long time broke. Like, damn. Healthy and broke doesn't even go together. You're going to suffer for a long time. Like, no. We want to be sick if we're going to be broke. Let's get this thing over with. We're going to be healthy. We're going to have me a little change then. I need $5 or $6 so I can enjoy this life. Because no God, not the God of the New Testament, Old Testament, Quran, whether it was spelled with a K or a Q, like, none of them said to live in poverty. None of them said to suffer. None of them said that you're supposed to be here for a long time struggling. Right? But the problem is we're not following the science. Then we get mad at the folks following the science because they got the money. So these guys following the science, they got the money. They didn't have the money before they got the science. That's what we miss. 700 AD, the Rothschilds were penniless. Penniless. Bums. Beggars. Now they own everything. We got to pay them interest on dollar. Like, whoa, if I spend money, you got to pay. It's crazy. Okay, they got your science and then they got busy with it. So that's it. I'm going to close. This is another picture so you can see the OGDOAD at work. All right? These right here, so you can know how this works in your biology specifically. All right? This is how they look. All right? This is another little medical secret. All right? This is how your DNA looks 99% of the time. See this? Stretched out? This is DNA right here. This is DNA. That's how your DNA looks. Your DNA is always wrapped around the 4 sets of twins, tied by the hidden one, Atum. All right? And how you know it? How you know this is what they're talking about? Because this is the first one that emerges from your plasma. And then this H1 histone, that's what it's called. That H1 histone gives birth to the 4 sets of twins. And then that 4 sets of twins gives birth to everything else in your body. Those are the 4 sets of twins that covers creation. Right? And even again, that same 4, that same 8 is played out again in your DNA because you got 4 bases. But bases have to come together and set to 2 in order for your DNA to spiral. So you still gotta have the 8 for your DNA. I mean, it's basic. We gotta learn it and tap in. We gotta learn it and tap in. All right? We gotta learn it and tap in. Right? Because if we don't learn it and tap in, we'll keep letting pictures like that fly and we won't understand how this works. Why do white folks let these pictures out? Because this still does the same job. This is a mnemonic. This is still working on us. Because my histones are still recording that fear and inscribing that into my DNA. So now that I'm no longer still living that reality, at a genetic level I am, and I'm still going to pass that fear on to my children. So that way, children that never grew up in times where they ever even seen that, black children will automatically get out of the car, and when they talk to the police officer, automatically look down. Where's that fear even come from? You automatically just looking down. Why are you looking down? And I be with people that be like Captain Caveman on the street. Nigga, I'm gonna kill me a nigga if a nigga look around here. As soon as police pop up, nigga looking down. I'm like, yo, look up, nigga. What the fuck? Put your head up.
Yeah.
Whatever getting ready to happen, niggas get ready to happen, but
Yeah.
we ain't gonna be like that now. No. You hit me in the top of the head. You hit me in the face. You gotta make them work for it. Old school. Now we killing ourselves.
Right.
See, we didn't have cats like that before. You had to kill Malcolm out in the open. Bam! You had to kill him. You wasn't gonna get Malcolm to load up with pork sandwiches and put all kinds of crazy aluminum base like. You ain't gonna do that. You had to get them out in the open. Now we killing ourselves, so it's easy. Just nigga trying to do some organization, cut him a check. That check is slowing right down. As soon as that check slow him down, the first thing you're gonna do with a check, no matter how smart he is luxuries. Luxuries is gonna bring him attention. Attention is gonna distract him from the cause. Now we're gonna get to see who he is. Woo. And usually, really smart guys didn't get any attention from the ladies when they were younger. So as soon as those ladies pop up, it's over. Gone. And if we can choose the ladies we surround them with, oh my goodness. Right? So this is the etymology of histone, and we'll close on this. You have coming from web or tissue, and then you also have wise man. These are the two origins. Right? So you can put that together and do your own. Right? Histo, web or tissue, histor is wise man. So history, even that comes from here. Because the origin first was webs and tissue. And it's a reason why the web is here too. So that also we're going to deal with in the depth class. We're going to talk about the goddess Neith and the electromagnetic field and how that plays into this here. All right, so those will be the classes online. And when I come back here, we're going to do some more building and all that kind of stuff. Right? All right. So that's questions.
Hello, non-believers out there. This is Sunday school. I am the minister. FBP.
We come around once in a blue moon, just to show you that we love you.